This is Viva Fry.
I'm Dr. Peter McCullough.
This is Tom Luongo.
This is Chuck Prodonick.
This is Alex Kreiner.
Hey, this is Brad Wall.
This is JP Sears.
Hi, this is Frank Peretti.
This is Tammy Peterson.
This is Danielle Smith.
This is James Lindsay.
Hey, this is Brett Kissel, and you're listening to the Sean Newman Podcast.
Welcome to the podcast, folks. Happy Wednesday. How's everybody doing today? Well, I'm annoyed. So we recorded, as you can tell, a 3-hour podcast in the new studio, and has nothing to do with any of that. It's 3 of my video files got corrupted, and as I looked, I was like, why did that happen? That's a first, and I'm learning some things, and I guess just when you think you're starting to know everything about podcasting, I get thrown a curveball like this, and I guess it won't happen again, but I'm learning a couple things on that end. So there's no video today, which really sucks because we had everything rolling along. The audio's all there, so we don't have that issue. But for today's Military Roundtable, there's no video, which I'm annoyed about because I had the cameras rolling the entire time and it's there, but the files didn't finish uploading on the camera, and I did not realize that was a thing. So today is an audio podcast, which I'm a little deflated about. But regardless, everything there is there from the conversation. And before we get to that, let's get to a little bit of Silver Gold Bull, shall we? Did you know you can hold physical gold and silver in your registered accounts? Silver Gold Bull can help unlock your potential of your RRSP, TFSA, RRIF, or Kids RESP by adding physical gold and silver to your account. And this year's deadline is March 2nd, 2026. But once a contribution is made, you can invest it into physical precious metals at any time. And of course, Silver Gold Bull can help you with all their in-house solutions, whether buying, selling, or storing precious metals. All you got to do is text or email Graham down the show notes for details, and he'll have all your questions answered, or whether it's this or any feature silver deals exclusively for you, the SMP listener. Just go to silvergoldbull.ca or .com or reach out to Graham down in the show notes. Bow Valley Credit Union. Buying and selling Bitcoin has never been easier. Bow Valley Credit Union has developed the first in-Canada Bitcoin gateway. With just a few clicks, you can buy Bitcoin directly from your Bow Valley Credit Union account. And the Bitcoin you purchase through your Bitcoin gateway is real, truly yours, securely stored, insured, and never leveraged. Custody is provided for you with no risk of losing seed phrases, complicated tech, or fear of hackers. And you can just go to bowvalleycu.com for more information. Diamond 7 Meats. Diamond 7 here in Lloydminster is a family-run business with over 26 years of service, offering more than just retail cuts. They can provide livestock processing for farmers and ranchers in Saskatchewan and Alberta, including custom sausage making for both domestic and wild game. If you don't have your own animals, their retail sales can connect you directly with producers offering sides or quarters of beef, pork, or lamb. Their experienced staff can help you fill your freezer with exactly what you need, and you can find them on the north end of town, Highway 17 and 67th Street North, or you can give them a call today. Call Diamond 7 Meats at 306-825-9718. Caleb Taves, Renegade Acres, the Community Spotlight, the MASH Spiel coming to you January 17th, 2026. Yes, Kalmar, just west of Leduc. And you can sign up as an individual or a team of 4. It's all down in the show notes. A little bit of curling fun. And the gentlemen on the podcast today are all going to be there. Chuck, Jamie, and Willie all going to be in attendance. The Cornerstone Forum returns March 28th at the Weston Calgary Airport. We just announced Larry Johnson as the newest addition to Tom Luongo, Martin Armstrong, Alex Kreiner, Vince Lanchi, Matt Ehret, Chad Prather, Karen Katowski, Sam Cooper, Tom Bodrovics, and Mr. Twos. And early bird tickets are on sale until December 31st. Don't wait. The prices only go up after that. So head to showpass.com/cornerstone26. It's down in the show notes as well. And get your tickets before December 31st, for folks. The prices, like I say, only go up after that. If you're listening or watching on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble, X, Substack, Facebook, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to leave a review. And if you're enjoying the show, share it with a friend. Like I said, the video didn't work. I'm annoyed. I'm sitting on this side, and I'm annoyed. But the audio, all there. New things to learn. New things to learn, folks. And I'm learning a valuable lesson on episode 970. I guess I'm not done learning things. And I guess let's get on to that tale of the tape. Our first guest spent 20 years in the Canadian military. He is a retired sergeant and served in 4 tours overseas. Our second guest served 33 years in the Canadian military. He's a retired corporal and served in 4 tours overseas. And our third guest served 25 years in the Canadian military. He's a retired Master Warrant Officer and served in 6 tours overseas. I'm talking about Chuck Prodonick, Jim Sinclair, and Willy MacDonald. So buckle up. Here we go. Welcome to the Sean Newman Podcast. I'm excited to have in Chuck Prodonick, Jamie Sinclair, Willy MacDonald. Gentlemen, thanks for, coming out to the new spot.
Thanks for having us, Sean.
It's beautiful.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, place
Better.
is great, man.
It's actually better than I thought it was going to be.
You literally have no wheels on your chairs.
No wheels. And look at this. It's perfect.
I'm telling you, when I was picking the chairs out, I was thinking about you the entire time, Jamie.
Thank you.
No wheels on the
comfy.
chairs.
It's comfy. I love the fucking table. I was hoping you were going to bring the other one, but this is better. I love the whole idea. Round table, it's perfect.
Well, so I don't forget, okay? So everybody, here you go. Okay, ready?
All right.
One there. One there.
Thanks, buddy.
So as everybody knows, you come in the studio, everybody gets a 1-ounce silver coin. Do you realize that sucker now is worth 80-some bucks?
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh, nice.
I made
Thank
a killing
you very
coming
much.
here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just going to do your show every day.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
if you're like the brothers in playoffs, then we got to start having bets, and only one of us gets a coin, right? Like,
Speaking of coins, might as well get this over with.
Mine's in my wallet.
Oh,
in my
fuck
jacket.
you. You got a coin or
You don't like
you?
my coin anyway, so
Yeah, I know, because it's not your regimental coin.
it's the coin I like.
I don't care. Just because you like pink underwear, I don't want to see your pink underwear.
Why are we playing by his rules? Isn't this your show?
it is.
No, these are the rules of the coin I'm playing
Well,
by.
whatever. Here, have a beer.
They're fucking my beer again. Jesus.
Beggars can't be
God
choosers.
damn it. Well, Newman, you got a my beer, and Willie.
I just
Osgood-
bought lunch, thank you very much.
Well, fuck,
yeah,
we
thanks
just
so
spent
much.
5 hours driving up here to see you.
And I gave you a silver coin for it.
you got
Hey,
80
what
bucks?
else you got? What else you gonna complain about?
Nothing. Got some bow. Got good company. It's all good.
Can't take them anywhere.
He hasn't changed in like 30 years. No. Like,
I'm just getting going.
Yeah.
You want to start with the Victoria Cross? Shall we start there?
Oh my God. What a great thing that's been happening. Started with, jumping in any time there, Willie or Chuck, but started with obviously General Rick Hillier, and he's been pushing this for years, and it kind of stalemated, and now there's been a re-push. And Eddie Staniowski and Cliff Walker, General Cliff Walker, and I don't know how I got wrangled into it, but I'm very proud to be part of it. To Saskatchewan, we got our member of parliament, or not, sorry, our MLA, Blaine McLeod, got Scott Moe to make motions in the House. I had Willie down for 2 days. He saw everybody from the provincial government to the city mayor and everybody in between. When we were leaving the city on the last day, the last person he saw that was an official city person was the guy running the dump. He shook hands and kissed babies out there too. It was so awesome, and lots of things were positive. I'm rarely proud of how people conduct themselves inside of the House and how they speak with each other. 2 years ago when I was there, the SAS party were not behaving properly. They weren't giving the respect to the NDP and listening to the voters that they represented. This time when I was there, the SAS party were listening to the NDP and being respectful. And the NDP were the ones that were acting like little children. And I had to give my Blaine McLeod, he's my guy from my area. I had to give him a kudos, and also with Scott Moe, and he also did something really cool. So Cliff Walker, we have this room, it's called 218, and out of the 70-some VCs issued to Canada, there's 15 of them in this one room. Then they're all Saskatchewan guys. So we punch pretty high, for the amount of people that were in Saskatchewan, World War I, World War II, to have 15 of them. That's pretty cool. So we're sitting in Scott Moe's office. We're supposed to have 10 minutes with him. We're there like
30 minutes.
30 minutes or more. And I remember Cliff had this initiative going 4 years ago to get that room renamed, and nothing ever happened. So I mentioned to Cliff, I'm like, hey, weren't you pushing to get the name of that room moved or changed to something? And amongst like the group of us that were there, we came across on the Room of Valor or
Hall of Valor.
Hall of Valor.
Yeah.
So in the house or in the ledge, they actually, Scott Moe said, we're going to name 218 Hall of Valor, and because of all the VCs in there, and it was a great day. It was a great couple of days. So it's really getting steam, and once again, Saskatchewan's leading the way. City of Regina is now the first official city to be behind us as well. So that's super cool, and shout out to the mayor there and all his staff, and very welcoming to us. And yeah, it was good.
Yeah, so I'll just maybe fill in the gaps if there are some gaps. But so Bruce Munker, and I believe he lives in Manitoba now. He really started this organization or this movement called Valor in the Presence of the Enemy, and it was kind of anchored on one soldier from the Royal Canadian Regiment named Jess La Rochelle, who until recently was still with us, but eventually, unfortunately passed away from his injuries that he sustained in Afghanistan. And Jess's story is one of those stories that you read and you're kind of like, okay, yeah, this guy got the Star of Military Valor, but it seems like that might not have been enough. He was by himself, manning an observation post or a bunker. He was in an elevated strong point, firing a machine gun. The bunker gets hit with RPGs and it falls in on him, and he keeps fighting, and he resorts to M72s, which are 66 millimeter rockets, and he's holding off this horde of enemy by himself, and survives the ordeal, but detached retinas, broken back, missing teeth, the whole 9 yards. And this is the kind of thing that you look at and you go, oh my God, like this is something that goes above and beyond what we typically have seen in the past. And, not that we know every circumstance that happened, but so Bruce started this Valor in the Presence of the Enemy, and Jess is the pointy end of that. And so Rick Hillier got on board and said, hey, let's find a way to compel the Canadian government, the federal government, to relook at some of the citations that were issued in Afghanistan. Let's start there, right? And go back and see if any of those meet the criteria for the awarding of a Victoria Cross. And so I'll segue just to kind of give you the history of that. Up until 1993, the Victoria Cross was issued by the Commonwealth. So the British government were the issuing authority for the Victoria Cross. And, for those listeners that don't know, I'm sure everybody does, it's the highest medal for valor that a Canadian or Commonwealth soldier can receive. In 1993, Canada created its own version of the Victoria Cross. And so the last one awarded to a Canadian soldier was awarded by the Commonwealth, and that was in 1945, right at the end of the Second World War, and a Victoria Cross has not been given to a Canadian since then. Fast forward to today, all our other Commonwealth partners, Australia, the United Kingdom, they have issued, or they have awarded a Victoria Cross to at least one or more soldiers from their militaries through a number of different conflicts. And you think about the Korean War, we had a discussion about the Korean War when we were with the Premier, and there's arguably got to be somebody involved in that conflict that was worthy of a Victoria Cross, and that just hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And so really the impetus of the whole thing is to compel the federal government to establish an independent review board that's going to start with 24 files of acts of valor in Afghanistan, to take a look at these particular scenarios and determine whether or not the criteria has been met for the awarding of a Victoria Cross. And so that's kind of how we ended up at the mayor's office and at the premier's office and in the legislature in Saskatchewan. And Jamie's MLA, Blaine, he raised the motion and said, I'd like to formally raise a motion that the Saskatchewan government put its horsepower sort of behind this, and request that the federal government establish this independent review board. So I know that's a really long explanation, but I think that background is important.
And to add to this, and we can't forget about it, is Senator Marty Klein. He actually put a bill forward, a private member's bill in the Senate for the same thing. So we've got Scott Moe, we've got the city mayor, and we got a sitting senator that read a private member's bill on I think it was Friday about getting this reopened. And so the push is hard, and just something cool. And I don't know if Chuck wants to jump in on this, but the Victoria Cross is melted down iron from a seized cannon. I think it was a Spanish cannon that the British captured. So there's only so much of this steel left, right? So now that the Commonwealth nations have become independent and such, the English want to keep the remaining steel for their own Victoria Crosses. So that's how precious this material is, and it doesn't mean that that the metal is more precious. Like once they give it to a deserving person, and it just seems like it's like we've got this list, or there should be a list of check boxes. You check so many boxes, you get this medal, and then there's no politics, there's no nothing that can interfere with that. Because once you check all the boxes, wherever you end up that's your medal. And if you check them all, then issue out the Victoria Cross. Like, it's that simple. But there's politics, and there's people saying different things. It's not from the right regiment, or whatever's all being said behind doors. And that's what we got to try and get rid of. And
Just before you guys showed up to lunch, Sean and I were talking just about that part with the politics, and it's so ingrained in it now that, like, I know at least on our 06 tour, when we recommended guys for things on certain days where they definitely did more than the standard day required of them. And I didn't know till a couple years later, and I knew this because I won't use their names, but a couple of the in people that I'd coursed with on an interrogation course worked in the talk there. Then they wound up in Ottawa together, and they're like, your medals they're going nowhere. Like, the ones you guys got right after the tour, that's it. All this other stuff, it's gone. They don't like Western units. That's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But the same thing happened to the Royals as well. Like, this young man, I've read his story. It's an incredible after action report / like story of what this guy did. And he's not the only Royal. A lot of fantastic warriors from their unit as well. But his is an incredible story. Yeah. And the fact that it's taking, that there's even a discussion that this guy and several others shouldn't have this medal is...
Yeah, the independent piece of the whole initiative, I think, is really important. And I say that because, and I'll use Bryce Keller as an example. Bryce Keller unfortunately lost his life on August 3rd, 2006. He was a C6 machine gunner, holding back the giant horde of enemy that were trying to overwhelm us. And there's 3-4 foot flames coming off the end of that machine gun. It's 50 degrees Celsius. He's clearly a target. But he knows he has to be there, and he knows he has to support everybody because we had some casualties already and whatnot. Anyway, I had submitted, a witness statement and I'd filled out all the paperwork. There's always bureaucracy involved in this stuff. And at the time when you do that, and I don't know what it's like now, you're not saying this person deserves X. You're generally writing the narrative, telling the story. And then there's an honors and awards committee that is going to determine the appropriate level of decoration, and or whether or not it even happens. And so for Bryce Keller, I submitted that paperwork on August the 4th, the very next day. And it came back probably within, 2 or 3 days saying, no, this guy was only doing his job. And so the point I'm kind of getting at is I had to resubmit that paperwork 3 times until, at the time, Colonel Anderson, who retired as a general, eventually said, okay, Task Force Orion needs a review. We're going to establish a new honors and awards committee. We're going to review all the statements and everything else that went in that was forgotten because they're just doing their jobs, and take a look at whether or not we've done the right thing. and a number of medals came out of that process and mentions in dispatch and whatnot. But you know, I think equally as important, Chuck, the point I'm getting at is that we're so hard on ourselves when it comes to achieving a standard. And Jamie is 100% right. There's a checklist. If you meet the criteria, you meet the criteria. But we arbitrarily decided that no, that person was just doing their job, so they don't get anything. And it's just like, man, I'm not okay with that. Like,
No, and we know the difference between the day in, day out. I don't want to make combat sound routine, or what we went through as routine, but there were day in and day out things that you did on it. But then there's the Bryce Kellers. There's a fucking Eric Walche. You had to drag him.
Man. Totally.
Like the same incident, same battle. Willie's guy's got tourniquets on his arms and his legs, can't move, begs to get back behind his gun. Like, that's not doing your job, you know?
Yeah, that's
we're
going above and beyond for sure.
I really had no concept about the medal thing. I had no idea about it. Dave Anderson gave me a call after the tour at home. Like, this can't be fucking good if the new guy in charge of you is calling me at home. I'm like, what the fuck did I do now? Which is usually something I was doing.
What do you do again, Chuck?
Something I shouldn't have been doing. But if the colonel's calling you, it can't be good. And he's like, you're going to Ottawa, you're getting an MID, I mentioned in dispatches for this day. And I'm like, oh. So I didn't, cool, like, great. I get, you're kind of proud of yourself as you would be. It's not for a good day though. So that's always been a confliction for me. Like, it's the reason I got mine was for a very bad day. I don't like that. I'd give that back for other people to have had a better day. But I get to Ottawa, and me and Scotty Shipway were there for the same incident, an IED.
I got his name on my jersey.
He's no longer with us.
Yeah.
He died on our next tour in 2008.
We'll talk about that later.
So Scotty and I go there, and Scotty did like to drink a little. So
From Saskatchewan.
Just a little.
he could have gone pro. And I was going pro right beside him at the time. And we get there. We had no idea what was going on. This was not normal for us. Our tour was not a normal tour. Our tour was well beyond the scope of what we'd really done since Korea as an army, as a unit. And we get there, and I see Baby Gerber. I'm not going to say his real name, but our old OC. And I see several other officers that were talk officers and some other weenies that never left the camp. And I'm like, I wonder what they're doing here. If they're just here for the show, they got an invite, or what's going on.
They're there for you, Chuck.
Are they here to celebrate Chuck? Because this could be a thing. It should be a thing. But anyway.
Starts today.
Starts today. So there's a movement. Get in front of Scott Moe and get that going. But anyway, all these awards, and I don't even know, they're all 3-letter awards that mean that you literally showed up in Afghanistan and got a tan. And I'm not trying to take anything away from anyone who earned something. I'm not. But when you showed up and you get some administrative award that you get to wear on here, now it's part of your fucking signature block for the rest of your life. And that's what it is officers awarding other officers a thing, an attaboy for coming out thing. And then, you start to hear some of the other stuff. You start to hear posthumously the Vaughn Ingrams and some other ones. And Scotty and I get called up for ours. And we weren't the only ones. There were other people there. We get called up, and you're like, it was the first time I went, well, who in the fuck is deciding who gets this stuff? Like, who's deciding who gets what? Because my former OC sitting over there was an utter coward in combat, and you know that, and I know that. He was literally the guy from Band of Brothers that was like, I'm going back to regiment as soon as it got, like, we just joked about that all day long with the guy, because he was utterly, maybe coward's too strong, but it's whatever's just below coward, Muppet of some sort. Anyway, but he wasn't the only one. And I'm looking at this row of guys who just got their, and they're proud of it. The worst part is there's no shame in them about, the thing that they got for literally, some of them was like, he managed to keep the logistical side of socks and underwear from falling apart on calf. And I'm like, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't disagree. I think there's some value in like if you think of the like Dan McLeod's.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You know, the supply techs that
Yeah.
that made sure we had bullets, made sure we had beans, made sure
Yeah.
we had all that stuff, and to a certain extent, you know, went beyond what you would think the scope of a supply technician would be.
Absolutely. Mechanics, medics, yeah.
Yeah, but I was going to say that, you know, the funny thing is that the popular history of why medals are awarded, and this is my understanding of it, and if you guys have a different understanding, jump in and tell me, was, you know, way back in the old days, you know, the soldiers were not compensated monetarily very well, and so some British officer, whomever it was, said, well, let's give them a medal because it's going to make them feel special, and it will replace us having to give them all this money. And so that's how it what my understanding of popular history is that's how they came about. That's why the military wears medals. And if that's the case,
I see it a bit differently.
no,
like,
but I actually read this, and
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this is not just my opinion. This
Yeah.
is something that I read that said this is why medals were originally created, was to replace the financial compensation to keep the soldiers from mutinying, basically. And if that's true, then it kind of flies in the face of, you know, officers giving other officers medals, right? Because it's
The way,
not
the way
technically
I the
for
way
them.
I look at it, if you go back to the Romans, like they created professional soldiering.
Mm-hmm.
So as you do different campaigns and you become different, like the berserkers or whatever, like you would have badges of honor of what campaigns you're in, and you would wear it on your suit of armor. So when you look at a soldier, like, okay, he's got this, and that. Yeah, I know he's got some experience, you know, and that's how I envision like the modern day medals. And maybe there was for monetary things, but it's like wearing your resume. And going
Yeah.
back to these medals, and some of the best soldiers I've ever worked with never had a fucking medal on them at all.
No.
And if they didn't keep the standards high through the Cold War, they could have very easily like said, we're not going to train as hard in the winter. We're not going to do the ranges like we can, like when it's raining or whatever. They could have made life so much easier for themselves and for anybody they trained under them. But the Cold Warrior that kept the standards high, that learned from Korean War vets and World War II vets, and they suffered alongside with us out on the ranges and on patrolling competitions and in battle school, instructing men like ourselves how to do war properly. If it wasn't for those guys, we might not be sitting here right now.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see a soldier and they have nothing on their chest, but they're grizzly and old, they give them some respect, because the worst enemy you'll ever fight in war is complacency, and complacency kills. Like, don't give, like, it's a harmless thing out there, but the second you let your guard down and you're not vigilant, that's when shit hits the fan.
That last
And
2
the
weeks
enemy,
of a tour.
and the
yeah.
enemy, they look for that. They
Yeah.
look for the platoon that's weakest to hit, and they're going to hit the complacent platoon. They're not going to hit the fucking hard charger platoons, because their chances of survival.
And
are-
they knew our rotation, so they knew when we were new, and they knew when we were about to leave. So you'd be sorely tested early on, and then your last little bit, they'd be like, because you're just thinking about home. You're like, fuck this place. I'm done with this
and
place.
anybody I worked with, remember Cooper?
Yeah.
So Cooper was such a devoted husband. He had a bunch of kids. His wife left him a Dear John letter, put a hand grenade down his flak vest, and blew himself up.
He was in our section.
But
in
this
battle
guy,
school.
was just like so in love with his wife. Like, we'd be on 32-kilometer marches. He'd have like a picture of her in his helmet and shit. So after that, anybody that would think about leave or talk about leave that I was directly working with, I'd tell them to shut the fuck up. Like, watch your arcs. I don't care about what you're going to do on leave. I care about what you're going to do next. Like, do not think, and if you had a calendar in your ISO trailer of when you're going on leave, I'd fucking throw it in the garbage. Like, you're not going on leave till the sergeant tells you to get the fuck on the truck and go on leave. You're here to do a job, and you're to keep me alive, and I'm going to keep you alive. So stop talking about your family and your goddamn girlfriend, and what's going on at home.
Didn't in
hard
battle
ass,
school
eh?
you had a couple girls above your mirror
Yeah,
in your locker?
yeah, he probably.
Well,
had
that's
a few.
in battle school, boys. they were got out of a picture book. I didn't even
Yeah,
know their
listen,
names.
I remember
you
them
know-
walking around the corner, and we were like, ooh, 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 to your pictures of the girls, and the sergeants were like, what the fuck is that?
To your
I'm
point,
not
Chuck,
a
I
homo.
think I think your posture, I think the way you look, you know, how you roll. Jamie's not wrong. You make a hard target. You're not wrong if you present a hard target. You don't know how many times somebody didn't shoot at you or ambush you or anything because they were like, ugh,
Yeah.
these guys look like they know
got
what
their
they're
shit
doing.
together.
How many times
So-
did you hear on the ICOM scanner, not these guys,
Yeah.
not with these guys?
Yeah. Yeah. And
You'd hear
That
it.
must have been a
so
pretty
it's-
good feeling.
It wasn't
Yeah,
because you're
we
like,
wanted to kill them.
The funniest one I heard was when we're pushing back after we were up in saving the Brits and we're pushing
oh, in
south.
Hellman? Yeah.
The actual Taliban commanders were arguing with each other over the ICOMs. It's your turn to fight the Canadians, and the guy's like, I'm not ready yet, and the other guy's like, well, I have nobody to fight them with. They were all dead. And fucking,
I think we may have touched on this in one of your previous shows, Sean. But Chuck and I were involved in a fight on July the 12th of 2006.
Hyderabad.
And at the end of that fight, when the sensitive site exploitation was happening, and we found all this opium and cash, and it was actually in the news. We also found leaflets that were basically like, Canada's the enemy, and we were like, we did it.
We did it. We're big
did
name.
it. We're big. We're in the big leagues now.
Yeah.
Because they were distributing propaganda saying that, hey, the Canadians are not friendly and they're going to kill you. And we were like, well, it's about goddamn time.
Because up till then, they were quite frequently just, they're just different Americans or some other sort of American. And then you could hear them on the ICOM scanner going, these aren't Americans. They're fucking killing everything. Like,
Yeah.
And
they're not afraid.
they're not it didn't matter if that there was 4 of us in a stack or a platoon of us that should have been a company objective. Like, all that training side of things was nice, but when you get into the reality of it, you guys running around as a platoon with half dozen dismounts going after dudes, we just attacked all the time. Like, it was just so much better to attack.
just to give you an idea, so Canada dragged their feet. And by the time they picked a province to take over, that province was already taken by some other NATO country in Europe. So we ended up with like fucking the Wild West. And they had 2,000 fighting Americans in that province of Kandahar that we took over with 400 and some odd fighters. So in the wisdom of fucking General Fraser, he also made, out of that 400 and some odd dudes, he's like, and you're going to send guys on leave. So that's 21 days off and a third of your platoon is gone. So now we go from like 400 and some odd fighters down to like 300 and a bit. So we're fighting in an area that 2,000 Americans fought in. Now we're fighting in Hellman as well. So we're fighting in 2 provinces and kicking ass everywhere where we go. It was fucking
We just didn't have the ability to hold ground.
and
So we fought over the same objectives
and
time
I-
and time
yeah.
again.
And actually, I got to make a correction about this because I think I said this to Chuck, and I actually apologize to all the Canadian veterans that were in Afghanistan then because I said this wrong. I said the Yanks lost like hundreds of guys there. We lost 158, and I made it sound like it was not as much of a sacrifice as the Americans, but we only sent a very small portion of fighters that were there, and we lost 158. So when you do the math, our contribution for fighting in Afghanistan in those 14 years was more of a death toll than the Americans had per capita, and we had also more wounded than the Americans. So that's my apology to all the veterans out there that I didn't honor the sacrifice properly, and I hope you forgive me for that. But that's the truth.
I mean, it's no different than and you're not wrong. Per capita, we sustained more casualties, but battlefield medicine evolved very, very quickly between like, let's say 2000 and 2010. And, we were using quick clot, and then quick clot was damaging it was damaging the skin, and it was making more problems than it was solving. And so then we had HemCon or HemaCon.
I say that's still bullshit. Like at first when we got there, they weren't going to let us use any of this stuff. In Croatia in '93,
you can't put it in an IV, Jamie.
In Croatia in '93, we were learning how to put in IVs in each other. We get the fucking war zone. The medics were so protective of their job, they wouldn't let us learn how to use IVs and quick clot. And we're like, guys, this is going to save people's lives. They weren't even going to let us use tourniquets. Finally, we convinced command. Command, like, we got to do this. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
we were lucky.
Thank God we did, because like that quick clot, the fucking tourniquet, the IV training, it saved lives.
Absolutely did. Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. Like, yes, the materials got better because of combat environments. Like, there's always a better way to do something, but
and gotta always give the Americans a plug, man. They gave us the support that we needed to evacuate our wounded, evacuate our dead, make sure that we were resupplied appropriately, and we did some really, really cool stuff. But we could the three of us could tell war stories all day, but Sean's just sitting here quietly, and I know we strayed off the Victoria Cross.
This is what I do. I bring people in and then let them do their thing.
But we want to fucking heckle you a bit about,
the heckle me about.
Yes. The 17th of March is January is coming up. We're just finding out where our hotel is. You were going to drive us around in your little fucking Suzuki fucking little car.
No problem getting in it coming out here today, did you, Jamie? But now it's all of a sudden a problem.
But we need a panel van because there's lots of people who are going to be drinking.
So what they're talking about is they're talking about the mash bill, folks. All three of these gentlemen are going to be there in Kalmar, Alberta, and they are looking for a safe ride home from the curling rink to the hotel. That's what they're looking for. And I'll just leave it there because they obviously don't want to get in my vehicle because they got.
You got to organize a panel.
What did you say? You got team staff. You got a masseuse.
Yes,
you got all
we got
these
equipment.
Yeah,
we got equipment to bring.
We got broom girls.
Got trainers. Got masseuses. Got coaches. We're professional.
We got 3 coaches actually.
We almost had an Olympian on our team.
Yeah,
Bruce Hebert. Ben Hebert. Bruce is the dad.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm going to
So what you guys are saying is you're gunning to win the mash.
Oh, fuck yeah. We win. That's our job. Even if we got to cheat.
Twos might have something to say about that. I'm sure Twos has been,
We got corn brooms.
Yeah. And Scottish hats. And sweaters.
We might have to have an award for the best dressed. How's that, Jamie?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? That'd be foolish not to.
Going back to the Victoria Cross for a second. You're talking, so it's been 80 years on the button since the last one was awarded, right? Yeah. We're finishing off 2025.
Yeah.
Canada
brought in their own Victoria Cross in 93.
Yeah.
They were told to because they're not letting any more of that metal leave England.
So they're told to, and then they promptly mothball it and don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I think politically, there's another aspect to it as well. When you hand out a medal like the Victoria Cross or even other combat type medals, not these I did my logistical job medals, there's such a trend in Canada from the government on through to just regular people to just be like, I don't want a reminder that we were in a shooting war. I've heard that from people more than a few times. It's one of the reasons we don't have a Hollywood push of any sort to get the young fellow they were just talking about from the RCR. Jess is first.
Jess.
His story's one of dozens that could be made into some blockbuster to honor what he did. But there's no. That doesn't exist here. And that mentality of like, well, if I hand out this medal to these guys, it acknowledges that there was combat and that we were in combat.
Yeah, I know, but it comes at a time where military is like in the toilet. Oh, there's nobody in our Canadian military.
Yeah.
And they're trying to boost numbers. they're talking about, we talked about it last time. All society, like Finland. What do they call that?
Oh, their supplemental reserve.
Yeah, and it's
Or are you
all
talking
all
about like conscripts?
yeah,
Yeah,
all of
conscripts.
society, military. I'm butchering it. I forget how they term it in Finland. And I'm like, well, actually, if you just want to boost morale and point people to go to the military, a Victoria Cross being awarded would be a good thing, because you look at them not paying. Going back to your story, Willie, of they didn't. Are you going to complain about the chairs now?
No, my hip's killing me.
You
All
know,
right?
wait a second.
be sitting all day.
The chairs don't have rollers on,
I'm gonna
right?
need another beer.
I'm gonna take
Get
a
me another
hammer
beer.
and knock off
Another
all
beer.
the wheels, and then he gets in here, and all of a sudden the chair. Oh my!
No, I love it.
he needs
I
a
love it. I
recliner.
love it.
I got you.
Just when you go to the bar, stand at the bar. So I can stand, I can stretch.
He can walk around and
And
talk
when I
to
was at the
everyone.
last place, I could get up and go for a piss.
Coming back to it, so Willie, you were saying that they created the Victoria Cross, roughly, in something you read, that it was a way not to have to pay them more.
Well, just medals in general.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I think is medals in general is propaganda is not the right word.
Morale.
But
It's good for morale.
it's good for morale. And so when you're a country right now trying to boost the morale and boost recruitment and everything else, a Victoria Cross would go a long way.
Yeah.
Because it would paint the military, like this could be you.
The British
You
had
could not that
I
you want to go
agree,
through some of
but
this.
but that can't be the reason. The
No,
reason
no,
has
no.
to be that it is hands down a clear example of you've met the criteria and you deserve this, and we made a mistake. I think that's where it needs to be.
I 100% agree with you. I'm not trying to undermine what you guys are doing whatsoever. I just look at the Canadian government and I'm like, anytime you try and interject common sense into like what you guys are talking about, right? It's like a checklist. And I might argue the independent panel that decides this should probably be all guys who have served. So they could just be like, oh yeah, like look at this, or this is one.
Well,
Maybe,
here's the thing, and I've already seen this, and I've been, this is my 2 cents I've been putting up as high as I can, is that it seems like they want to reinvent the wheel. I'm like, guys, the Brits do this, the Australians do this, the New Zealanders do this, the Americans do this. They all go back. Don't reinvent the wheel, because you're just going to fucking create more chaos and more time. Go, send a committee, go to every nation, figure out what they're doing and what the best system is, and adopt it. Like, this isn't something where we got to spend 10 years talking about this.
yeah, but
Pick a
that's
system.
that's
pick a
common sense,
system,
Jamie.
And let's go with it.
You don't
Yeah.
think the Canadian government is going to find a way to put bureaucracy on top
yeah.
of bureaucracy
and that's
to
what we
drag
gotta-
this out for
we gotta
20 years?
Stop that.
I
And,
need a
and-
steering committee, Jim.
but-
if I'm being honest.
Yes. So here's the other thing, and you're alluding to this, and we're dancing around it, and I've said this, I've even said this to you, like our number one currency in this country
Is blood.
it's the blood in the body of Canadians, and that's what's paid for this country, and when you sacrifice all, that's not saying that Victoria Cross is worth that sacrifice, because really when you're in those situations, you're dying for that guy and that guy.
Yeah, it's a recognition of that.
Right.
It's
sense.
a recognition,
But you're
yeah.
giving recognition at the highest form. And that's not from the Canadian government. That's from every Canadian in the country saying thank you for your sacrifice.
Well,
That's what it's all about here.
I can't agree with you anymore. I'm just like, so why does a government get to control? I mean,
But on
I
this,
think Chuck's 100% right, and I think there's an aspect of this that when you award a medal for something that was done in the presence of the enemy, which is why the whole grassroots initiative is called Valor in the Presence of the Enemy, you're acknowledging that we were at war. And, Canada technically hasn't been at war since World War II. And,
Yeah.
and so there, Jamie's talked about this, the Medak Pocket in 1993 and the 2nd Battalion of the Patricias and holding the line against, a massive force. And, those guys came home to obscurity. They came home feeling proud of what they did and what they accomplished. and were basically told, coming off the plane, don't talk about this, don't talk about this,
Yeah.
don't talk
Kim
about
Campbell was our prime minister at the time, and she publicly stated no Canadians are in combat in Croatia, and these guys are fucking killing Croats and Serbs, and it was like chaos. And going back to it, like you brought up a great point, is this is the first time Canada's been trying to put a foot on things. When the 2nd Battalion stopped the entire Chinese army at Cap Yon, they were issued a presidential citation from the United States because they saved South Korea. And the Canadian government would not let them wear their presidential citation. And the Patricia said, fuck you, we're wearing it. And the medals that should have been awarded at Cap Yon would have been, given to the Canadian government to look at the push on to England for VCs or whatever. They're probably so pissed off at what the Patricias did, they just threw it all in the garbage. Like it's that kind of bullshit we got to get away from.
I've heard, and you probably know far better than I, some of my friends, they're not in anymore, but when they were talking about the medal, basically the review board that looks at it all, there's at least people from the 3 infantry regiments. And that one winter tour warrior regiment blocked so much stuff because they were the Vandu, because they were, really, what did they had nothing they could do for themselves. So they just blocked and said, and vetoed. And I heard that firsthand from a couple people, not in the room maybe, but definitely with their ear to the door kind of thing in the hallways.
Yeah.
Hearing that those blocks were just political, and our people and the royals who deserved them as well just got.
Yeah, and I think if you were to arguably put a Patricia or a royal, and they become a veto power, and the Vandu say, hey, this is our guy or our gal, we would probably veto that as well. Just depending on who the person is. But, interestingly enough, and I was thinking about this when I was driving out here, and I shared this story a couple of different times, but the war diary for Task Force Orion in 2006 when we were in overseas, it doesn't exist. Somebody scooped it up. It never made it back to Canada. So at the time, DHH, I don't know if they're called DHH anymore, the Directorate of History and Heritage, that's where all this stuff goes in Ottawa. It's like a giant library, and they keep it all, and it's what they use to form the basis of our history. And so when I was working in Ottawa, I went to DHH for a tour, and I said to the historian there, "Oh, do you have the war diary from Task Force Orion?" He goes, "No, we don't have it. Doesn't exist. It never made it back." And I go, "So how do you know what that battle group did?" And he goes, "Well, there's a difference between factual history and popular history." And he goes, factual history is it was written down at the time it was happening, which is what the war diary is. It's basically a transcript of the radio transmissions. And then there's popular history, which is the word of mouth, people telling stories. And if they line up sort of similarly, then it becomes popular history. And I'm like, okay, so what can you tell me then about like Task Force Orion? And he basically said, well, I'm going to tell you this. Task Force Orion, from January to the end of August of 2006, went through more bullets and more fuel than the next 3 battle groups combined. Mm-hmm. And he goes, when we talk about popular history, we have to look at this and go, is it possible that they were in all these places at all these times? And they go, yeah, of course, because they burned 17 million gallons of JP8 or whatever, right? And so I found it very interesting because when you look at that metric and you think to yourself, okay, more bullets, more fuel. They couldn't measure food because our food was catered by the Americans.
Catered is a strong word.
Yeah. But when you think about it, and you think about the fact that in a 8-month, 9-month period, there was a battle group that went through more bullets and more fuel than the next 3 combined. That's pretty significant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One thing he's not mentioning, but I know he knows this, is that although we didn't keep our war diary, the British Army did. The American Army did. The Dutch did. So when we saved the British in whatever town that was, that's recorded history in England. Okay, that's not.
So you could go
pretend
get, in theory, you
so,
could go
so
get it.
when
Bits and
when
pieces of
when
it.
Willie
Bits and pieces of
when
it,
Willie
yep.
would call in airstrikes, his name is Slayer, whatever it was, Slayer 66. There'll be recorded history in the American archives of the airstrikes that he called in on whatever enemy that was described. So those were every time we were talking to the Yanks, like that stuff is recorded somewhere. Like that's captured. It's what our fucking officers, failed to fucking do, and it's complete
See,
garbage.
I don't
It's
think
complete garbage.
I don't think that, and this is the tinfoil hat side of me, which is quite a lot of me. But I don't think it wasn't that the diary wasn't scooped or brought. And this links to the documentary.
Somebody has it.
Somebody has it, and I believe it's somebody in Ottawa has it, because when Kesterson went to release the documentary at the museum, he had permission from the museum. He had permission from Ottawa. They were going to do a screening. This is years ago now. And somebody in Ottawa said, no, we will not endorse this documentary because we don't know, it doesn't jive with the narrative, And Scott's like, he's like, CBC literally uses this footage on your Remembrance Day stuff. Like your news stations have blasted some of this footage for a couple of years, and you won't support the documentary being shown in your regimental museum. And it wasn't the regiment shut him down. Somebody in Ottawa at the highest level said, no, we're not getting behind a documentary that shows our guys at war. And to me, it all links into, as long as we don't talk about a war, any war that our boys were in. And like I think Willie said a minute ago, we haven't officially been at a declared war since World War II. It just doesn't, it goes away and the military just gets mothballed again. And then why do we really need them? And that kind of thing. And so that's what, when Kesterson and I were still talking, that was kind of the thing that came up a few times. He's like, it's all he could think. He's like, he goes, Ottawa, on top of not wanting to endorse the thing to be shown at the regimental museum guys were like, this is Patricia's. This is the most combat footage. And he was willing to give them the unedited stuff too. Like the documentary is an hour and 20 minutes, nicely edited. He's got days of us in combat or in between combat, it's a treasure trove of us stuff, and the museum's like, yes, please. And Scott, after the Ottawa thing, said, no, I won't do that. Then Ottawa said to Scott, well, we'd like your footage for training purposes. And Scott's like, you ain't getting that either. You don't get to poo-poo us because we said Jundy or something that wasn't politically correct, or sometimes we were dirty and unshaven, and I said bad things when I shot people, like I was
swearing.
I was very mean
Lots of
spirited when I
swearing.
was, being shot at.
Someone was trying to kill you.
Somebody was trying to kill me and I had some hard words. But like, you don't get to poo-poo that as the realism of combat and then go, but we want this for training purposes. So Scott, very wisely of Scott, said no.
No more using the word poo-poo or pew-pew, okay? Okay, Chuck, we're men here. You can say shit, fuck them. Come on, let your Tourette's out, for Christ's sakes.
I thought you were going to say because it makes you want to have a poo-poo.
Stop it. Stop it. Hurry, stop talking like this.
I like
a
things
bunch
that
of
go
children.
pew-pew.
Pew-pew.
Yeah, fuck you too. Jesus Christ.
But anyway, maybe I'm down a conspiracy hole there. I don't know, but it sure seems like it. And I'm not blaming just liberals. The conservatives are guilty of it too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they're
all
just
are.
as deep in it together.
Well, Kim Campbell was a conservative. She was saying,
What was she, prime minister for 5 whole minutes or
yeah,
something?
it doesn't matter. She
listen,
still said it.
I don't even think we need to go down that rabbit hole. I think it really just revolves around the fact that there are some folks out there, some that are still with us, some that aren't, that are deserving of
That's
being-
what we're talking about.
And there's a push to
And there's
see
a
this
push,
happen.
Yeah.
it's the petition is E6661, I believe.
It's too late to sign up to.
No, yeah, it's already it got enough signatures. It was just south of 17,000, and my understanding is it's going to be tabled in the
March.
House either
March
beginning
4th.
or beginning of March. There you go. And it's a private member's bill, and from what I understand, it's probably going to get the support it needs to actually succeed. However, we've done this exercise before. There was a previous petition, and it got squashed. But admittedly, and I think Rick Hilliers even said this, it was just really not the best timing to table that petition because it was right before a federal election. Our former prime minister was doing everything he could to tear down every Canadian institution, including the Canadian Armed Forces. And so it just had no hope of seeing the light of day. So I think this one does, and I think the timing is better. And I think the fact that, and we got to give a lot of credit to the government of Saskatchewan for putting their horsepower behind it, because it's going to be dominoes, right? The other provinces will likely follow suit. I hope they do. And
Well, I would think Alberta would be a likely.
Well, and this is what I wanted to get into. Like, although it's too late to sign that petition, it doesn't mean you can't get a hold of your MLA. Like, if you're in Nova Scotia, or you're in the Yukon or Northwest Territories or Nunavut or Alberta, get a hold of your MLA, Liberal or Conservative or NDP, and say, hey, listen, I support this, and get on the phone and write them a letter, because that is what it's been the ground. This has been from bottom up, right? So leadership always comes up with all these great ideas. Until some comes from the bottom up, then leadership goes, oh, look what those guys are doing. Let's copy it and carry on, right? Like, so this is a bottom up movement, and leadership is supporting it. And the last time we talked about this, about the VC, I don't know how long ago that is, like a year ago now or 6 months ago. And I was talking about it with you. I've had people come up to me like, is this VC thing a real thing that I should be talking to my MLA about? I'm like, goddamn right it is. And they wrote letters and they phoned people. Like, so just because that's over with doesn't mean you can't get on the phone or you can't write a letter. Like, the more information being sent down east, the better. And to our members of parliament. And yes, and Alberta's definitely going to jump on board. Like, why wouldn't they? Like, there's no reason in the world that the sacrifice of many shouldn't be acknowledged. And if you're not behind this, like, you got to really have a really good reason why. And I can't see one.
Do you have Hilliard's ear at all?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Ask him where our combat action badges are.
Oh yeah, that's never going to happen. That combat action badge thing.
Yeah.
So we'll segue into that maybe. So
the Kung Fu grip.
So how the Americans have the combat infantryman's badge? CIB?
No, I don't.
Okay.
But sure.
So it's a like Jamie was talking about, the Romans wearing campaign stuff on their armor and stuff. So the Americans have the combat infantryman's badge. And it's a rifle with a blue background, and it's surrounded by, I don't know,
oak leaves.
It's a brown best rifle from the Revolutionary War.
Anyway, and essentially what it means when you see somebody wearing that is that they've been engaged in combat. And so in particular, the Canadian Infantry Association and all the troops were like, hey, we want some acknowledgement that we were in combat to distinguish us from the fucking bean counters. And so they did an in-depth sort of steering committee and boards and all this stuff, the normal bureaucracy.
They spent $1 million to wind up they did nothing.
and then they came up with this.
It was going to get too political.
They came up with this thing where it's like, okay, there's going to be three
three levels. Yeah.
There's going to be 3 levels of combat action badge. That's what we're going to call it, the CAB. Just fucking pedestrian on the battlefield. And bronze, silver, and gold, or whatever it was. Yeah. And based on the amount of combat, whether it was direct or indirect, so you were in an IED event or you were in a shooting event or whatever, was going to determine your level. And it turned into such a cluster.
And this is why we can't let this happen.
That they went, we can't fucking do this.
So
they just went, we can't fucking
So
do
my
this.
second tour over, and I only bring this up because you mentioned Hillier, and I know you guys like him and all that, but anyway.
Love them. Love you out there if you're listening.
I know. But when we were at the Red Devil Inn, and he was there that night.
I was there too.
And he
I was
said,
bodyguarding him.
He's like, boys, you're going to get one. You're going to get one. And we're like, cool, because the Americans that we were with, they're getting them for the same shit that we were in at the, their same.
Well, a lot of us got the American one from the Americans because we fought beside the Americans.
Yeah.
Their leadership went, these guys deserve this CIB.
That's why I like my coin because I got that for
Yeah,
shit
whatever.
we were doing.
Whatever.
The regiment didn't give me no coin for doing
Yeah, they
stuff.
did. You fucking graduated
For showing up and
battle school.
graduating, yeah.
Oh, you didn't show up. You had to earn that back in our day.
Yeah, you did.
Anyways, so this infantry combat thing, I can speak to this. So I was in my last time I was in Afghanistan.
You know what I was
07.
envisioning bringing the military boys here for the first time? You guys are doing a great job. Carry on.
There's no broken glass here yet.
No.
We haven't fucking wrecked anything.
I haven't peed in this bottle yet,
Yeah.
but I'm going to.
I'm looking for a pail. Anyways,
Can't leave the table once you sit down.
fuck, I need a tube.
We're almost an hour in, and
Yeah.
Jamie hasn't used the
Hey,
bathroom yet.
I'm fucking squirming. I'm ready to go. I got.
That's why your hips hurt.
Get through your story and go pee.
You're in a yellow chair. Don't worry about it.
So, anyways, I'm in forward operating base called Balo, and we're the most heavily attacked camp in all of Afghanistan at the time in Zabul province. And they were flying Americans in there like it was a leave center, American officers, because they were guaranteed to get into a gunfight. And then they'd a week there, and then they'd go back to Kandahar, and then they'd bring another group out. And it was because you can't progress as an officer unless you have combat badge. So they were flying these guys in there like 30 at a time, and they were just there to get shot at, and that's what this turns into. So
It can.
in a
It
way,
can.
in
It
a way, I
absolutely can.
totally get why they got rid of this thing, because there's Americans out there that are fucking truly legit gunfighters.
Yeah.
And then there's a guy that fucking counts socks in the back of a bin truck that a rocket came over his fucking camp, and he's got one. So it kind of
He's got a
takes
really
away
nice
from-
PTSD pension, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
My
come on.
second tour in 08, so just got back, went retrained, and went back in 08. They were in this thing that Willie was talking about, where you do this bureaucratic amount. You get into a gunfight, and then you fill out paperwork to say, this is the kind of gunfight I was in. This is where it was. These are the people that were with
This
me.
is how close the bullets were.
This is how scared I was. This is when I
got that granular. It was just like, this
it
is
was
fucked.
it was ridiculous, but it was so ridiculous that my OC at the time, and I never went overseas with a good OC, it doesn't seem like. Thankfully, I had Renee Keynes as our sergeant major. But anyway, he's a beast. Jesus, Jamie. So we're patrolling at night, Kandahar, dismounted, for some reason.
I'll give it this. Jamie in the old studio, he was a heck of a lot quieter on getting in and out of his chair.
Oh, he was a ninja.
Yeah, not so much anymore.
No,
Carry
no.
on.
So
Could have just went like,
every fight we were getting in 08, we were doing the stupid paperwork to say, oh, here's what we did, and here's the manifest, and all the crap. My company commander hadn't been in a gunfight yet. Goes out with one of these night patrols for some reason. They get in a massive gunfight, and I'm the QRF leader for this night. So I'm like, oh god,
quick reaction force.
quick reaction force. So I spool the boys up. We're about fucking hell.
You guys miss me?
Did we?
Yeah, totally.
So we're about to go out the wire to get into this, to go somewhere in Kandahar, and I don't even know where we're going, to get into a gunfight. And it comes over the radio, stand down the QRF. It was blue on blue. So blue on blue means friendly. There was a friendly shooting incident, and it was a private contracted team securing a compound somewhere in Kandahar. Somehow in a 10-minute gunfight, nobody got shot. Nobody got hit, which doesn't speak well to either side, to be honest. But at the end of it all, they come back to camp. It's now like sun's coming up, and I'm like, boys, we're stood down. Let's go eat. Go into the little DFAC on
Dining facility.
dining facility on what was it, Camp
I'm the
Nathan,
acronym guy.
the Camp Nathan Smith there,
CNS.
CNS. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So
Who
we go-
fucking cares? Hurry up.
So we're walking to the mess hall, the DFAC, and in comes my company commander with the sergeant major, and he's beaming and bright and happy, and I'm like, "How's it going, sir?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go into my office. I'm going to put in the paperwork for our combat action badge." And I looked at him, and and Renee Keynes is like, "Prodonick," and I'm like, "Combat action badge? You were in 10-minute tick with."
Yourself.
with the friendlies, with the friendly unit.
Fucking Yosemite Sam.
So he's like, he looks at me and he's like, well, it still counts. And I'm like, I'm about to lose. I'm about to have a chuck here. And Keynes is like, Prodonick. And he's like, Sergeant Prodonick. And I'm like, this, you're not getting a combat action badge for blue on blue. I go, I'll give you a dozen or two of mine from the other tour, this tour. Like you, and I'm like, just about to go to control. My boys grab me and they're like, very wisely get me out of there before I could sewer myself any further. But, you know, I was like, this is what it, like Willie said, this is what it turns into is I heard a loud fart and now I'm putting in for.
Yeah. It's a good thing we didn't do it. It's like, because at the end of the day, like, we know who did what, and that goes back, like, so not to bring my experience into whatever, like, there's situations that have happened where you don't think you deserve something, you get something for doing something, and you're thankful, but you think you're just doing your own job. Because really, you know that the guys know, right? So now that I've gotten out of the Army, and now you're like, okay, well, the guys that I used to work with that respected what you've done and such, and you're humble about how you you don't talk about it or whatever we used to do. Now that I got a family, it's like, well, fuck, like, you know, I want them to know about certain things that I did, and the reason why I did it, and it means something to you then as you get older. Mm-hmm. So, you know, and you know, we're not trying to bring these medals out for any of us or anything like that, but it's for somebody like if Jess family gets that, or his name's is going to be like behind that medal. That's what it's about, and that's what Canadians can get behind. And
nobody here is looking for more shiny stuff.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's not. This isn't for that.
Yeah.
And you know, we're not going to get into like, you know, like other medals that we've received. This isn't for what we've done. This is for what Canadians that have done the ultimate thing for our country that and they deserve it. And it's got to be brought back to light. And if they look at it honestly and nobody gets it, well, then at least as veterans, we can say, okay, well, at least it was an honest look and no one deserves it. So we can be at ease that
it just seems
that
odd
somebody's
that
not getting fucked over.
In 80 years, not a single Canadian soldier is deserving of it. You know, it seems.
Well, Chuck, we know that somebody is. You know, I'm just saying.
Oh, we know.
Yeah. And not somebody. There's probably a handful, if not more than a handful, that are deserving. I hate to deviate from, but I want to get, you know, I want to get your thoughts on like how wars changed. Usually I bring up something that I've read, and one of the you know, so everybody's been talking about drone warfare, right? And all the drones and, you know, what they can accomplish compared to, you know, the millions upon millions of dollars on different technology. The one I was telling you guys on the way out here, I didn't even think it was possible. Well, I don't know if I didn't think it was possible. I just never heard about it before. But it was submersible drones. So drones in water. Have you guys been reading about this? Is this just Sean living under a rock and finally it came to my attention?
Well, yeah, they're drone tech. I mean, they've been using drones to. Well, the first one I can think of underwater was the one they found looking for the Titanic. You know, that kind of idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, the tech now, that's 30 years ago or so. I mean, so now they're flying around under there or swimming around under there, whatever they're doing under there, and it's just like the air ones now. It's
well, and you got to think about like so drone technology's come a long way. So drones need like a satellite or radio frequency to give them guidance to how they're going to go and attack, right? So let's think about how that's evolved. So they come up with jamming systems to take these drones down or try and block the signals from satellites, right? So then they go to a guided wire system like our TOW system, or do you use the Russian ones or the Sager system? So it's a thin steel wire that sends a signal to that drone. It carries a spool of wire as it flies for like 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers, however far these spools are. And then they can hit something and they can't be jammed. So let's think about an underwater drone. how does that underwater drone get to a naval base and then attack something? So in my mind, it's got a mothership that slowly moves at the surface where it can have a connection with a satellite. It gets within that 10-kilometer striking range. Now it uses GPS tracking because it can have a tracker where the drone is underwater that separates from the mothership, and it makes its last 10-kilometer voyage pulling that thin little wire into a naval base and strikes us up. Like it's real-time information telling that like the explosive part of that drone where to go.
Yeah,
like
I think
there's some
even
really
goes-
smart people out there putting this shit together, and we can do that right here in Canada.
I think it goes beyond that. I think there's autonomous drone technology where they give it a grid. It's
But it
got
needs a signal.
No, it doesn't. Once it gets that grid and it locks that grid, it goes to that grid.
Yeah, but how does it do it if it's not doesn't know where it is in the water?
Well, it does. That's the thing. It plots a route before you even let it go.
Oh, really?
And so it knows exactly where it's going. Like there's no, you don't need satellites. You don't need radio communications. You just tell it, go here. It plots the whole thing and starts going. And even when people start jamming signals and stuff, it just keeps going.
And I would doubt they're
but
sending one.
that system you're talking about is a radar system. So, like, if you got a radar looking at like Patriot missile system, so it's detecting like an aircraft or a radar. So if you were to launch a laser guided missile at that aircraft, it would know it would have a lock on, and it would do different things to like get away from you. With a radar system, so it's tracking the airplane knows it's under radio surveillance, but the radar gets feedback back, and it also tells the missile where to go. So now it's the missile and the radar talking, and then within the last few meters, then the missile turns on its laser and then strikes a target.
He's like Ricky
it's-
Bobby. He doesn't know what to do with his hands the whole
Yeah.
time.
So like there is that technology out there, but there's got like maybe there is something that you're talking about that I don't know about yet.
I'm
but-
certain there is. I'm almost absolutely 100%.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. You're a sergeant major. I'm just a corporal.
No, I'm just. I don't know how it works. My understanding of it is extremely rudimentary, and I've listened to some different
You were drunk.
podcasts and stuff
You were
about
drunk.
it, and yeah, I probably was drunk. I'm drunk right now. That you can program them to go to a certain location. It's like a fire and forget missile.
Yeah.
You just let it go, and it goes there, and you're 100% right. If it doesn't detect a target, it comes home. It's like the fucking robot vacuum in your house.
It's a Roomba. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. It's that same idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just sent
Pretty
50
cool shit
million
anyway.
We sent $50 million more in parts
I'm putting a
for
grenade on your
drones to
fucking
Ukraine this week. For drones that we don't have, for tech that we don't really have. We're starting to get a bit of a drone thing going here, but we're still funding other people around the world, including Ukraine, and don't have this stuff ourselves. Like, stop giving our money away to other people and build our military up. Like, we're in desperate shape here. We talked last time about how many tanks we have running. Now, tank warfare has changed dramatically, obviously, because of drones, and all warfare is changing dramatically because of drones. But you still need an armored force. You still need an infantry force. The basic building blocks.
We got 300,000 public servants.
That's good.
That's a
That
really
hopefully
great point,
will
Sean.
backfire
I-
on the liberals, and they'll all be
I'm
like
100% behind.
loving shooting guns.
You sound like
They'll
twos.
like turn into rednecks overnight once they get out there in the field, and they'll
All you
like
gotta
be
do
like,
is
"This
take
is awesome."
lumberjackets,
They will be.
lumberjackets, a John Deere hat,
They
and a
will
fucking
be.
The
They
Patricia,
will.
Field rifle.
Patricia tuxedo.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, they will be the Trojan horse that the liberals launch on themselves. Like, who doesn't like shooting guns? So now you're out being instructed by guys like Chuck and guys like Willie, and then you're like, oh, they're not such bad conservatives. And then next thing you know, they got them on the range, they're shooting the shit out of targets. This is fucking awesome.
Then they want to kill gophers.
Yeah,
and it's a whole thing.
Now all these guys that were libtards that work for the feds, now they're all conservatives, gun toting.
It's true. I've never
rednecks.
taken anyone to the range who's never shot before, where they weren't immediately, like a week later,
This is great.
gun lockers everywhere in the
Except
house.
for that American guy that did the whole thing about the AR-15.
Oh, being louder
It
than
was ringing in his ears,
Yeah.
and he was having.
Well, that was part of his podcast. He just did it for.
pink. Was the rifle pink?
Yeah, I remember that.
Anyways, I think this is going to blow up in their face. I hope they do it.
Well, so
I hope they turn into
Did you
gun
listen
lovers.
to Two's talk about it, Jamie?
No.
Because his
Oh, yeah. That was like
his-
3 or 4 weeks ago.
his theory is they want to reduce how many people are public servants. So you put them in the front lines and
Yeah,
you just wipe
yeah.
out half the staff that way.
Yeah. No.
Yours is a little more
I like-
optimistic than that.
They'll all get
I think
medals.
it's going to backfire on them.
Yeah, one of them will get a Victoria Cross.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fuck, they're going to get a VC.
For sure. Yeah.
He was lighting the immersion heater in the morning, and it blew up in his face.
Oh God.
He still hasn't found his toque.
Where's eyebrows?
He hasn't had to shave since. Remember when Campoli lit himself on fire?
Fuck, he was
Started
a
one
hairy
of those
bastard
things?
too, so he was all on fire.
Oh my God!
So
Him and Chris Pitt
an immersion
running around
heater
like they're Roman Catholics.
For anyone that maybe doesn't understand it, we use them in the military when we set up our austere camps, and it's basically a steel garbage can with a diesel
No gasoline.
or gasoline
Yeah.
heating element put inside it. You fill a tank, and it drips and heats the water. It's actual fire that heats the water.
And you had to shave every morning, and you had to
And
go out there and
somebody
get your hot
always had to
water.
light those things in the morning, and they were notoriously finicky. So you would, fill this little cup up with gas, and then light it up and heat the flue,
Yeah.
and then hopefully the rest of the gas would catch. But you'd be sitting there for about probably 30 seconds, a minute and a half, and every now and then you're kind of poking your head over to see if it's lit.
Get light,
Because
get
you don't
light.
know if it's lit or not. And every so often, almost every single day, someone would put their head over that thing and whoop,
Well,
all the gas would catch.
the time we're talking about, the ground is frozen. They're filling up. It's like 4 a.m. Of course, they don't have their flashlight out there. They're too scared to go back to the tent to get it because they don't want to wake anybody up. They're filling these steel gas containers full of gas.
The
They
hole
put-
on the fucking thing is
Yeah.
like literally that big. It was the dumbest fucking thing I've ever
and
seen.
no light. And they're pouring like out of the jerry can. There's gas spilling everywhere. It's 40 below outside. So, anyways, and they're in a bit of a bowl because we're tactical when we got to do this shit too. It's fucking crazy. Anyways, so Chris Pick and Campoli light this immersion heater up. And a whole 20-meter circle just explodes. It like wakes up our whole platoon, and we stick our heads out the fucking thing, and you see Chris and Capoli running out of this fucking fire. They're on fire. They had like white balaclavas on. It's all melted. Oh, it was the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
they
fun
were
with
put
fire.
on fire watch together, like they were separated and put on with somebody competent enough to at least bring the flashlight out so they could see where
Yeah,
they're
there was
dumping the gas.
so much incompetency back. It was funny.
It was.
They're great
hilarious.
guys, don't get me wrong, but they just
gonna do
can't
this until
do
you get it
immersion
right.
heaters together.
Boom.
I don't care how much gas you burn.
Just burn it. Yeah. Oh,
Good times. Anyway, that's the immersion heater. Where were we?
I don't remember.
What were we
Forgotten.
talking
We were
about?
Oh,
I was
drones.
talking. We were
The
talking
drone
about
Servant
drones.
getting a VC.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
drones.
We went from the
Game
VC, and then
changers.
I brought it more to
Where we
today.
see modern warfare going.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot on here already. We should be taking notes about the Ukraine war, Russia-Ukraine thing, and there's a lot of lessons learned in there that we're missing, or people aren't paying attention to, because we need to be adopting and adapting. This is a rare experience where we get to see a war, basically 24/7 live streamed in some form or another, where we can actually adapt as it's going. When we went to war ourselves, by the time we'd started a tour and finished a tour, war had changed. Medical had changed. Our style of fighting changed. When I went back on the next tour, it had changed again. I took over from Van Duze in 08, and their section commander there was like, you were here in 06. I don't need to tell you how to fuck it. I'm like, I need to know everything because it's all changed again. It changes and it doesn't. And
They never left the camp, so
They never really
Well,
left
the
the camp.
enemy changes too, and
The enemy, yes.
interestingly enough, I heard something not too long ago about special operations forces, and their specialty is to a certain extent, depending on where you are, but they breach they breach a building and they kill the bad guys and they capture the hostage or they rescue hostages or whatever the case may be. And I heard some guys talking about the fact that they're like, why are we sending
People in there.
people through those doors? You know, and so it evolved from the point where you're not going through a door anymore. You're making your own hole in a wall because all the machine guns are pointed at the door. To, okay, they're smart enough now to realize that we're not using the door, we're making a door. But why are we sending highly trained soldiers through these doors, warriors that are just going to eat bullets? To the point now where they're like, yeah, we don't do it anymore. We send a drone in. We'll still blow the door or blow a hole, but there's not a human being going in there. It's a drone that's going in there.
Yep.
Because why waste a human life? And, you know, it goes back to dogs. You know, that's what dogs were used for. Okay, send in the dog. And so I think there's an evolution. The fundamentals never change. That's something I think we can all
you always
agree
have
on.
to have a man on the floor.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be occupant. Like you got to stand on that ground.
Well, and the fundamentals
They'll
of
never
fighting don't necessarily change that much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just the
it's
tactics do.
the method.
Or the method.
The method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie's a master at this, and I certainly am not. You look at the animal kingdom and how the animal kingdom, you know, forget about humans as part of that, and you look how they organize and themselves and how they survive and all the things they do, and like everything that we do is an extension of that, really, at the end of the day. And you know, you're really good at understanding that and making it make more sense than what I just said. But I don't think that you're right, Sean, when you say tactics. I don't think the fundamentals change, but I think the methods and to a certain extent the tactics do change and have evolved. And again, Chuck's right. You know, you look at the war in Ukraine, like trench warfare. I mean, we didn't do that 20 years ago. We did dig shell scrapes and stuff because people were like throwing mortars at us and whatnot. But you know, we didn't dig trenches 100 meters apart from each other and wait for someone to jump up over the edge and blast them, right?
But let's be real about that too. Like, how about fighting through a fucking grain vineyard? Like it was fucking trenches every 5 meters.
The grape fields, yeah.
Yeah, grape fields and going down those skinny little alleyways. Although they weren't dug in the ground, they were raised elevations.
Yeah, but I don't think you need to do that anymore. You can
No,
fly
no.
a drone through there.
Yep, totally.
Is there anybody there? No. All right. Okay.
But
let's use
we were
this
doing
safe
that
path.
20
Yeah,
years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
It was just above ground.
Yeah.
And Willy's right on, and so is Chuck. So we got to start learning what's going on. China's our fucking next war, and like the next year or 2 years, whenever it's going to be. They've got the largest navy, although their blue, like their deep water navy isn't as big as the Americans. But look what the Ukraine's done with surface drones and now submergible drones. They've taken out the second biggest navy in the world through drones. Like in our country right now, we're talking about, well, we got to buy fucking 20 fucking subs to go under the polar ice cap. Well, that's going to be 20 years from now. We can fucking do drones. We can buy them off the shelf. We can develop our own drone system, and we can have drones in the ocean within 2 years.
And we need them within 2 years.
And this war isn't on your time. So, and actually Cliff Walker taught me this, General Cliff Walker. He goes, putting money into your military is like having a really good insurance policy. So if you got a well-prepared military, you spend all kinds of money on it. It's like putting money into insurance that you never use. But if you got to use it, it's there and it's ready to go, right? Like you'll be reimbursed for your whatever loss you had.
And it's a great foreign policy leader.
It's a great foreign policy. And guess
do it all the time.
Sean, at my retirement party, and you almost saw a fucking huge hoorah-rah. A bunch of guys want to beat me up. And then you started pointing out, look who's coming to his aid. Well, that's how nations fight with each other and support each other and keep other people from starting to fight with you.
I believe what I said was all these men have killed people. Are you sure you want to get in a fight with them?
So
Yes.
that's what Canada's got to be again. The Americans are there. We've got to fucking pull our own weight. We've got to stand up and be a strong partner and side with the United States. We got to stop all this bullshit about, we don't like Trump or we don't like the Americans. We live in the same fucking part of the world as them. We got to be their best friends.
And we're going the other directions. Trump just signed Pax Silica, that the economic treaty, or whatever you want to call it, I guess, treaty with South Korea, I think Singapore, Japan, the UK,
Australia,
and Netherlands as well, I believe, are in it. I could be missing.
That's because the war is going to be with China.
No, but this isn't even about war. This is strictly an economic trade strengthening thing. And guess who's not on that list? Canada. We don't have a seat at the table anymore. We don't have a seat. That's it. We don't have a seat.
There's no secrets being shared with Canada. Like the RCMP were asked to take down some of these cartel things, and they're like, no. They told the American FBI, no, we're not doing it. Like we are so untrusted by the Americans. Mm-hmm. We're so compromised by China and India. It's fucking ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And
we just saw that with the floor crossing.
Yeah, Ma going across.
And now they're talking about there's been some influence that.
Well, I mean, that's been talked about for how long?
Yeah, there was 11 that they wouldn't name. I have to think that some of these floor crossers are part of that 11.
Well,
I'm only guessing.
Yeah,
they're moles.
Ma comes from probably the most. Well, I shouldn't say the most, but of the of the people that you wonder about, his writing in particular stands out.
Yes. But the thing is about him, he's been recorded at CCP functions, supporting the CCP. How the fuck did the Conservatives land on that guy to be their MLA?
Yeah.
Like it's, everybody's corrupt.
Not MLA, MP.
MP, sorry.
Yes.
But we are so heavily infiltrated at this point. I'm trying to think of a less shitty word, but that's the word.
Well,
we're infiltrated at this point.
Let's look at, so Cuba was going to let Russians put nukes in there, right? Now Venezuela told Russia, yeah, you can put missiles in fucking Venezuela. So look what's happening to Venezuela. Okay, Trudeau invited the Chinese army to come to Canada to go on winter exercise with the Canadians in the Arctic. General Eyre, thank fuck, he said no, fuck off. They were training in Victoria on the island. Hundreds of these fucking Chinamen. A friend of mine is a major in the Air Force. He had to take Chinese officers around all the Air Force bases, and they were taking pictures of all the candidates, all their equipment, their airplanes inside and out, and like Trudeau made it happen. So when we're that friendly with the Chinese, no wonder the fucking Yanks aren't going to tell us anything or trust us.
Trump just made fentanyl a weapon of bio weapon of mass destruction, and now I know you heard from the Liberals like, well, they only ever find like a little bit of smidgy of fentanyl.
Because they only test 1% of the fucking seed containers.
Dude, we've got the labs here that get busted, the fucking crime rings going all over the country, and they're by new Canadians typically at this point.
TD Bank, the biggest fucking
money launderer.
Yeah.
Australia, New Zealand, fucking blaming Canada for all the fentanyl being shipped out of Vancouver down to them because
it's because the cartels run the port in Vancouver.
When I left working in corrections,
but China sends all the shit to them.
When I left working corrections in 2019, fentanyl was the big thing on the scene. It was the thing. And what normal people who don't have anything to do with drugs, hard drugs anyway, don't understand about fentanyl is, and I know this from seeing it with my own eyes and other examples of people I've worked with in the jail. Fentanyl, it takes you, like if you spilled a couple grains of salt on the table, imagine the size of those salt. That's what it takes. I know a guard in, not the prison I worked in, but she was flipping through a book because we always did it. We always flicked the pages of a book they had in their cell, look for razors, look for any other contraband, and a little bit of the fentanyl dusted it and dropped her. Now she lived because their nursing staff on hand with Narcan, whatever they gave her, Narcan probably, but they got her back up, luckily. But I'll tell you what, the overdose is going on in there, and then we got these safe consumption sites that we're handing this shit out in, and Trump declares it a bioweapon. I say
they make Narcan
We're going the wrong way. We're going the wrong way.
Listen, it's about treating the symptom and not the catalyst, right? And it's something that we've done policy-wise for a very long time in this country, which makes absolutely no sense. Which is
that's a prevention.
instead of going after the root cause, we treat the symptom, and that doesn't help anybody, and it doesn't help anything. It's actually infuriating. I couldn't be more in line with you in terms of these safe consumption things. I think it's garbage, and you know, I've spoken to a lot of experts, and there are, I'm sure, a lot of experts out there that will say, oh, you know, well, you know, you're wrong, you don't understand, and I'm like, okay, well, are you a junkie? How do you understand? And it infuriates me to no end. I was at a veterans summit a number of years ago in Ottawa, where you know, Veterans Affairs puts on this summit every couple years, and they talk about different issues. And one of the issues they were talking about was homelessness. And there was an expert that got up and said, the answer is not to put veterans into a communal living space, like a shelter.
Yeah.
And that's not the answer for veterans. That's not the answer for all the homeless people in Canada. It doesn't work. It's not their own place. They have no ownership. There's a reason we use the word transient, because it's important. And so you have to stop thinking about let's convert an office building into a homeless shelter, because it's never gonna get off the ground. You're treating a symptom rather than looking
Going
at what
to the root causes and cutting it off.
Drives me nuts. I don't want to get on a soapbox, but yeah, I think the mentality is flawed, and I think the tactic is flawed, and all it does is placate a small portion of people for a period of time. Say, well, you know, the government's trying their best, they're doing what they can, and it's like, okay, why are we giving them so much power to solve all the problems? Because we can do it. We're smart people. Mm-hmm. We're not stupid people. They are arbitrarily making decisions on our behalf that we didn't ask them to make. And in the process of that, they're making our lives worse. Right? And that's why I think we could say that the four of us in this room are aligned in terms of, you know, big government. And you said, you know, Tews was talking about, you know, getting rid of the public servants. I mean, look at how bloated the public service is.
But hey, Willie's right. Here's the thing, Sean, this isn't new. This has been, drugs and alcohol and homelessness has been around since the day of time. But we had systems that were in place. We had fucking insane asylums out in the middle of wherever. And we didn't have them inside of city limits, because we don't need those fucking people wandering the streets stabbing people when they're trying to take their kids to a swimming lesson. Like when you are an alcoholic or you're a fucking druggie and you can't control yourself, we're taking you somewhere out of society until you're better. You're either going to get better there or you're going to die there.
I would say 99% of the clients I dealt with in corrections.
But let me just finish this.
Yeah.
We know how to do this. But it was politically incorrect to have insane asylums anymore, so we shut all these fucking things down. They were paid by the feds and the provincial government. Now our cities have to pay for this. They don't have the fucking money. Mill rates are going up. They're having to cut other services because now it's in their fucking lap. Well, fuck that. Like, get these fucking insane asylums out in the country set up again, where they're separated from all the bad habits that people
Please,
can
Jim,
bring down.
treatment centers.
Whatever. The fucking nut house. Get the nut house going again. And send these people there until they're better. Because if they're going to keep being visited by the people that are dragging them down, they're never going to get better.
About 99% of the clientele I dealt with in my almost 10 years in corrections, the crime that they were in for were all drug related. The violence that of the crime that they were doing, the whatever led them to be in for that particular charge that they were in for was drug related on some level. Now, to your point about sending them away to get treated, there's a few Nordic countries, I think Norway could be one, I could be wrong. I've seen documentaries on it, where they basically enforce rehab. Like,
we used to do that.
You don't get to be. Now, part of the problem is, there were inmates I met on day one in corrections that I saw on my last day in corrections, and in that 10-year span, where you could have had a normal conversation with them, relatively speaking, by the time I left corrections and they'd had 10 years of putting whatever in them they were, they were fried, and they didn't know who they were. They had all the wiring was no more good. That just was gone. So there's a point where these people, unfortunately, you almost have to warehouse them on some level. I don't want them on the street either, because they're only suffering. They don't deserve that either on some level. But they're also going to go after, like, the mom taking her kid to the store. They're going to go. They're the ones breaking into homes in packs. It's not going to be one person. And thank goodness Danielle Smith has said, at least as far as she said so far, in Alberta, you better not be a criminal breaking into a home. She actually said something pretty firm about that.
Yeah, if you're a criminal breaking into a home, you can expect to be, once again, it's not her exact quote, but you can expect to leave with, well, not bullet holes, but shot. Yeah.
I mean, as it should be.
You can imagine at the UCP AGM when she said that caught me off guard.
Yeah.
And it was a standing O immediately.
Yeah.
Right, but you also got parts of the country right now. You got kids, homes being broken into.
Yeah.
Kids being raped.
You got the one guy in, I think it was Lindsay, Ontario.
Yeah.
Guy broke in his house with a crossbow, and he, protected himself, and he got charged.
Yeah.
You got the police chief saying, "Just leave your keys at the front door."
Oh,
That's the
God.
easiest
Don't
thing,
even get me started.
And but this is Canada Day, right?
It's unbelievable.
Well, it's our own goddamn fault. We're the ones that had our head in the sand and let all this bullshit happen. We just thought it'd fucking go away. Well, it's not. We got to get involved in our communities, and we got to start fucking doing shit. Because the more we just stand around and talk and maybe it'll get better, it's just getting worse. Like, we're being invaded by a culture of people that aren't Christians. They have a different way of life, and they don't give a fuck. And if we carry on and let this happen, look what's going on in the UK, all of Europe. Look what happened just in Australia. We don't mix. It's oil and water.
That fucking
it doesn't
guy
fucking mix.
in Australia, the dad of the terrible two there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to Peter.
Tell people the story if they haven't, if they don't know.
Yeah, so there was a Jewish celebration on Bondi Beach in Australia, just in Sydney, and it was about 1,000 people there for this Hanukkah celebration, and two gunmen decided that they were going to attack the Jewish people. And correct me if I'm wrong, 17, 18?
16 dead right now,
16 dead.
Multiple more wounded, yeah.
Children, Holocaust survivors, you name it. And so I was talking to an Australian friend of mine yesterday, and I said, "Oh man, he lives in Perth." I said, "Thank God you're on the right side of the island." It's actually the left side if you think about it, but whatever. And his comment was, "Yeah, our government is fucked." This guy, the dad, has been living in Australia for 17 years on a student visa. Was investigated for his ties to ISIS a number of years ago, and they authorized him to purchase firearms. Like, this is the kind of thing that is happening in Australia. And you know what? The Australian people, they're good people, man. They're not going to put up with that shit. But when your governments are weak, and they cater to the lowest common denominator, and they're not following the will of the voters, you got a problem, man.
Yeah.
And
it's I've heard people say, well, is it inevitable that it happens here? And it
absolutely is.
In the last few days, I've responded, it's not just inevitable, it's impending.
It's when
it's
it
imminent.
happens.
Yeah.
It's not
it's
if,
imminent.
it's when.
We've already had something like 10 Islamic type terror attacks in Canada. They've generally been very,
The last one was in Toronto. There's a shooting at the airport. They never ever announced who did it.
Yeah.
Like.
But the last one was in Edmonton at the Ledge when they got the guy at the SKS and he was trying to firebomb it.
Yeah, that could have been. This happened last winter at the airport.
I think the Edmonton one was
around. Edmonton was a bit before that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Because Edmonton was, I believe the Edmonton one was right before the first Cornerstone.
But here's the other stuff that they're doing, and it's not always with gun. Like, there's more stabbings in Toronto and such, and they're Muslims stabbing white people. There's rape gangs like they have in Europe. There's rape gangs in Canada raping white women. Like, this stuff is happening, and it's not being told to the Canadian people.
And
Yeah,
again,
listen,
they don't wanna
I
get
think
people
it's,
up.
I think it's important, and you know, Jamie and I can talk about this offline, but it's not. I don't think it's just Muslims. I don't have anything against Muslims. I have something against radicalized Muslims that try to bring in specific types of their ideology into our communities, and part of that ideology being the rape gangs, part of that ideology being, you know, all the Jewish people must die. Because I have Muslim friends that are very peaceful, and you know, they've come to Canada seeking a better life, and quite honestly, they go about their day to day. They contribute to their communities, and they're generally, you know, good citizens. And so I just don't want to. I don't want us to fall into that trap of being like all Muslims are bad, because I don't think they are. But the ideology is what gets under my skin.
because people that leave a Muslim country, they don't go to other Muslim countries. They come to Christian countries. Now they come here because they think they're going to leave that way of life and they want to live a peaceful life. That's fine. That generation, let's say, like, I don't know what the percentage would be. They lead a peaceful life. Now their kids that are born in Canada never faced any hardships out of any Muslim country they left, but now they're here and they've never seen war or nothing like that. They lived in a peaceful environment. They become radicalized. So the people that immigrate here, they live a peaceful life and die. It's the kids that now become radicalized by, you know, internet or through their churches or whatever. And they become the problem 20 years down the road. And that's what we're not taking account of. Because you'll hear all kinds of people say, oh, well, you know, these are great Muslims. They're living here. They escaped war and tyranny. Well, they're not going to be the problem. It's going to be their offspring. And that's been proven.
well, it depends where the region they're from. I mean, we got them a day after the shooting in Bondi. You got all the pro-Palestinian Hamas holes in Montreal basically intimidating the Christmas market. You know, talking about they're going to death to Canada, death to the Jews, death to everybody over here. Why? And we have politicians wearing their fucking battle rags and fucking recognizing their state. Now, I don't give a shit between Palestine and Israel and that 2,000 plus year old war between them. I don't give a shit. I do not care. Wipe each other the fuck off the face of the earth. I don't care. But you're bringing your tribal shit to my country, which is already teetered off the edge with every other tribal shit somebody else brings in here. And are there great people from around the world? I agree. I got friends, you know, a couple of interpreters that got brought back. I've got a couple guys that are decent on every level. I'm not saying that either. But at this point, we've let so many unvetted and shitty people in. We need to hit the fucking deport button until it breaks. And I mean heavily. And not just with them. Not just with them. Yeah. We allowed a referendum for this Kalistani bullshit to go on, but we can't get one for fucking Alberta. Lick it. Like fucking... Yeah. At this point, I'm sick of entertaining everybody else's tribal bullshit.
I agree.
On my shores. I'm sick of it. My kids have no future in this country as it stands. They're no future at all. Yours are a generation behind mine. They ain't got a hope in hell, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. And everybody out there with kids... or everybody else out there struggling right now, you all know it. You go to buy groceries. Grocery inflation has gone up like another 4%. 2.2 million Canadians a month out of the, 38 million of us use a food bank. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. But we're sending money everywhere and inviting everybody in. It makes no sense to me.
My boys share, like, because they have, every month or whatever, they'll have a special lunch. Like, so my boy, you know, breaks my heart, but he shares his special lunch with a kid that can't have a special lunch. Like, it's crazy.
Because his parents can't afford, or the kid's parents can't afford to pay for special lunch.
And again, the government wants to step in and pay for everybody's lunches in school. I get the gist behind it. But if you only unlock the economy enough where parents could afford to buy groceries, but we've talked about this before. Probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, you go to the grocery store with the grocery cart and you saw most people with grocery carts and there'd be a heap of food in it and you'd get to the till, it'd be 80, $100. Like, okay. Now a basket of fucking food.
$100, yeah.
$100. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was having this discussion with with my neighbor. I had a big party at my place on Saturday, and we were talking about grocery inflation.
For the rifle
I think it's a
regiment.
great-
For the rifle
Yeah,
regiment.
I think it's a great point. And I was talking about the charade of Justin Trudeau when he brought in the grocers of Canada, to include Galen Weston and whomever else was there. And, he was putting the hard questions to them about why are Canadians paying so much for groceries? And I'm like, it's your policies, fuckhead.
Yeah.
That
Carbon
created
tax,
this. From
motherfucker.
the second that a farmer puts a seed into the fucking ground, it's taxed in its entire evolution until
Until it
it
gets to
becomes
your
a fucking
plate.
loaf of bread in your home.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 17 different fucking levels where it gets taxed.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because it's all cinema.
Yeah.
It's all fucking cinema. And it drives me nuts because I got really good friends that are farmers. They have big farms and they run professional operations, and they are complaining about it. They're like, it's, the kids don't want to farm anymore.
No. I grew up on a dairy farm.
So
yeah.
where's all our farmland going? Numbered companies are buying it.
That you can't trace to China.
That's right.
You watch Jeremy Clarkson's show on his farming show that he does. Great show, by the way.
Good point, Will.
But his farming struggle, because he's done the car shows and all of his other stuff. He had no idea until he got into farming, and every roadblock he hits is government induced, and it's ridiculous. We have the same. It's as bad or getting as bad here. Like Willie just said, it's how they can't make a living, so they got to sell to some numbered company until eventually our entire food chain is compromised as well, and we're going to be eating the soylent green fucking bar of
It's people, Chuck.
it's people, mostly people with some bugs. Like this is where people are going, oh Chuck, I'm not even drinking today, boys and girls, I'm sober. Like this is where we're heading.
You had an iced tea, to be fair.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
did have an iced tea.
Smelled
Affecting
like
your
whiskey.
blood sugar.
But
That apple juice sure looked like whiskey to me, Chuck.
But we are not in a good situation right now. And then, again, get us the fuck out of this country. And I know maybe I don't even know how Willie and Jamie feel.
Well,
about
we
that.
talked about this 5 years ago.
But I don't want this anymore.
Listen, I don't think it's doom and gloom. I think there are enough people that are waking up to some of the things that are happening, that there is a fundamental shift that's coming, right? And I give Jamie an awful lot of respect, and actually all three of you guys. I've been ambiguously silent, and maybe not silent, but just not as vocal. And Sean, you bring a lot of the issues to the forefront, which are uncomfortable for people. And I think that that's important. I mean, being uncomfortable is the only way that you can grow. It's the only way that you get better, is to learn from maybe making a mistake or being in uncomfortable situations. And I've said this before, there's no such thing as rising to the occasion. You sink to the level of your training or the level of your knowledge. And so I think it's important that we continue to have these discussions because, none of you guys are wrong, man. Like, our quality of life has consistently degraded in the last couple decades. And I, for argument's sake, let's just say the last decade.
Yeah.
There was something else that happened in this country 11 years ago that changed the way that we live our lives. And I think we all fundamentally understand that. And your listeners are going to understand that as well. It's the people that don't want to hear it. It's the people that, I had this party at my house and we were having a disagreement about something. It was a friendly disagreement until it wasn't friendly, until there was a person there that was like, I disagree. And I'm like, okay, great. Let's have a conversation about it. And the response was to another friend of mine, well, you don't have a college education, so how do you know? And I thought to myself, man, this is somebody that's cornered, that knows that they're beaten, that is going to throw education, that's going to throw, the isms out to try and prove their point, because they can't actually have an intelligent argument about this stuff. And it's been far too long that far too many of us have been pushed into a corner because we're afraid of the cancel culture. And it's important to just speak your mind and say, hey, this is what I think, because that's what our elected representatives are supposed to do. They're supposed to represent us. And for the most part, they don't. And that's where I start to really get heartburn, and I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, you said it. I got a 10-year-old son at home. I'm very concerned about his future, but it's not all doom and gloom. I don't want everybody to think that. I want people to know that there are good people in this country that are doing good things, whether or not it has an impact, because most of us are in the West. is another story, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, we do what we do, and we speak, we speak with a pure heart and with a clear mind in terms of, this is how I feel, and hope is not a course of action. And this guy knows that better than most of us, right? He's the one that's out there, pressing the horn and making the noise. And I think that's important, right? And so I just wanted to get that in there.
So great points. And guess what the beautiful thing about this is? He's 100% correct. Like at the very least, you can control your own actions and do something positive to move our society forward. And we talked about this 5 years ago, Sean, that it'd be nice if like the values our veterans fought for in World War I, World War II, we could have those and they could be reflected in our laws. And if anything were to happen, let's say the West does separate, guess what? Canada will fall and they'll rejoin Western Canada. It'll be Canada again. But all the fucking garbage, so do you really believe that the treaties that we've signed with the natives, once the Muslims take over, that they're going to stand behind those treaties that we signed with the natives? Fuck no. That means nothing to them. And that's the goal. So yes, the natives, they were conquered by the settlers. Guess what? I'm a settler. I was conquered by the English. I've lost my language and my history and my culture. But guess what? Through the native community and the settler community, we've created a new culture. And it's called Canada, and it's fucking awesome. And we can work together and create these values that are important to us. And if it's Western Canada that brings the Eastern Canada on board with us, slowly dragging them across the finish line, we'll do that. And this country will be great again. And we're not losing Canada, because it's really fucking Ottawa. Ottawa isn't Canada. And I've said this 1,000 times. It's the people of Canada that makes Canada. It courses through our veins. We can do this. And it's not to destroy Canada, because we love it. We fought for the fucking place.
Yeah.
If we got to do something to bring those values back, and I don't give a fuck if you're a Muslim, if you live in this country and you follow those values, like we would do in your Muslim country, and you do it here in our country, hey, that's fucking great. You're welcome here. But don't fucking try and change our values, because we've fought for these fucking things and we spilled blood for it. It's paid for in various parts of the world. And we deserve to have that fucking culture.
I agree. We deserve to have it. But you look at this week, and I don't know if the bill passed or not, but the Liberals are changing citizenship laws so that you don't even have to be born here. You can be adopted in another country or born in another country and obtain Canadian citizenship. So what we did go fight for, what we've lost friends for, what generations before us have gone through, that vote, that one vote we get is being diluted and diluted.
I'll be right back. I gotta piss.
And diluted. It's being diluted so heavily that we need to. I am the doom and gloom guy. I just am. I'm at that point now where I don't see.
Did you see the story? I had somebody send me. Forgive me. A Chinese billionaire paying for
surrogates,
100 surrogates to have 100 of his kids so they could get American citizenship.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm like, that's actually quite brilliant.
But they're doing it here too.
Well, I know. I'm like, it's actually quite brilliant. Because I'm
Oh,
like,
it is.
Who writing the laws would ever thought of surrogates?
But we're changing them to suit them.
I-
That's the problem. And I agree with Willie and Jamie. You know, the values of this country make it what it was at one point. I don't think we're there. I think most people can feel like that's a nostalgic image of where we were.
But what gives me, one of the ladies coming to speak at the Cornerstone Forum, Karen Katowski, deposited this thought in my brain, and I've been thinking a lot about it. It's probably one of the one thought I've had this year, or one, I've had lots of different people say lots of different things. But what she was talking about was this idea of like, what country, and she was talking specifically of the Cold War and Soviet Union, what country would gain freedom first? And in her mind, it was the most oppressed. But actually what played out was that the country that had the most freedom gained it first. And I go, oh, okay. Well, where's the freest part of Canada right now? Full stop, Alberta.
Yeah,
And
totally.
and probably not far behind it is Saskatchewan, right? Like I got a ton of time for both provinces. And so you go, well, like what happens here and said, some of this conversation makes some people uncomfortable. I'm sure. I'm absolutely sure of it. But by having open dialogue, conversation, and envisioning a future we want, Jamie's beautiful point on the blood spilt and the values we want, it's like, so where do you want to go? As long as we're allowed to talk about it, and we have leaders in place that are going to listen to the population that is swelling and waking up and pushing and being like, we don't want this anymore. I think there are better days ahead. It doesn't mean there aren't difficult days ahead. There are going to be some rough years ahead.
Like, for the last number of years and quite a few years, I've often said, oh, the only people that get into politics are they're underwhelming, because they're there because they like the power. They're there because there's a paycheck that comes with it that is maybe consistent, or it continues to grow as you work the network. But I think we have some decent people that have pursued political careers that can make a difference, and they can and they have enough of a following that they can influence the outcome. And a lot of people have said to me, oh, why don't you get into politics? Why don't you get into politics? And I'm like, I'm not interested in having my life put under a microscope, and I'm not interested in joining a club where, you have to conform to whatever the flavor of the day is, because that's never been me. That's not how I roll. And it's not about being uncomfortable. It's not about any of that stuff. It's more about my family. Do I want to put my family through that? And that really becomes the question. So good people, and I'm not saying I'm a good person because I'm kind of a shithead, but good people are staying away because they don't want to deal with that fucking dog shit, man. Like it's sad. It's really fucking sad, right?
It does keep probably the best cream of our people out of that industry or job or whatever, because right now I have no faith in, there might be one or two MPs I have any amount of a smidge of faith in, but this week having a guy cross the floor again, it just damages the entire apparatus. When I was a kid and my folks were they're dairy farmers, and they'd have other farmers over for barbecue, or we go to their place, a whole bunch of these events in the summer or winter or whatever, and as a kid, you don't say nothing when the adults are speaking, so you listen. And although that doesn't happen today, but when you're listening, I couldn't tell a conservative or a liberal or what they were. They were conservatives and liberals in the bunch. They kind of joked at each other and ribbed at each other, but you couldn't tell the light between them. They were essentially the same people with a little bit of a ideological difference or a way they would do something. Today, I can't tell the difference between liberal and conservative either. It's the same fucking policies. Carney's basically used Poilievre's running platform to suit his own needs, but bent it in a whole different way. I mean, these people just bend with the wind on everything. Like they can't. Daniel Smith coming out and saying the few things she said where I was like, defending your home and a few other things, or this pipeline. She actually says a thing and seems to, for the most part, try to follow through on it. and she's not an MP, she's a premier. So, I mean, but our problem in this country is the voting is done when it's just hit Toronto. We don't get a vote. We're foolish to think we get a vote. Our per capita population isn't as represented as it is in, like, is it Nova
New
Scotia?
Brunswick or-
New
yeah.
we are underrepresented, and we can't even get enough vote in Parliament. I know you guys, for me, it's a nostalgic view of what the country was at one point. I get it. I miss it, but we're not getting it back. In my opinion, we're not getting it back. I would go to war to get that back. I would happily go to war to give my kids something, but we're not getting that back. Happily. I'd go do it again.
5 years ago when we talked about this and how, Yugoslavia went to war, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's going to happen in Canada.
No.
But you get the wrong personality, you get the wrong person, like, in charge. Like, things can go sideways. Like,
In a heartbeat.
Like, so these are different times. They're tricky times. And you were at my retirement. Chuck decided not to show up. Like
I was,
everybody, yeah.
Jamie, I made your retirement
I know.
party.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Fist pumping. Yeah. Anyways, so in my fucking crying, speech because my kids fucking got me all worked up, and Willie did an amazing job at emceeing it all. My last comments were because there's General Walker there, and a bunch of my officers and such. I'm like, guys, you think that you're done and you're just gonna set out the rest of your years enjoying life? Well, you know what? If at any time, if our country needed your leadership, it's now. And Willie's not here to defend himself, but this is a guy that should be in politics. This is a guy that should be in politics. And I know you're shaking your head, Chuck, but we need great leaders that have some common sense, that are there for the right reasons. And guess what? We've all done stupid shit in our past. And if Winston Churchill had a Twitter account, they would have fucking ran him out of government too. And people like, yes, you're a good leader, doesn't mean you're a good person. There's some fucking like terrible people out there that do the right things for the right reasons, but they've done some terrible things in their past, and they learn from it. That's how you become a leader. I'm not saying that we should have leaders that are whatever, but you can have a squeaky clean past and become a leader that hasn't gone through the ups and downs in life and learned from your mistakes. So we got to get rid of that fucking squeaky clean bullshit stuff about, oh, this guy did this or did that. No, we need to bring the people into the room that are going to solve our problems. They're not going to be the perfect, like, cookie cutter politician, but they're going to get us through these difficult times. And that's what we've got to get back to. When they picked the head coach for the Olympic hockey team this year, they don't give a fuck about what that coach did 20 years ago. They don't care if he speaks French or English. Are you going to get a gold medal for Canada? Yes. All right, fucking, you're the guy. They don't give a fuck about anything else. Winning is what we're talking about. And we're allowed to be a winner in our society as Canadians. We're allowed to be fucking the best. Let us be the best. We can do it. We got everything fucking here. We got the best people in the world. Get the fuck out of the way and let us fucking do our thing. And we'll show you how fucking awesome we are. But oh no, you got some fucking bozo. It's got to fucking justify his job. And like, he doesn't want to work, so he hires 10 other people to do his work. And it's just fucking garbage.
And I tried that and I got fired.
Rightly so.
The only way that works, though, is a complete tipping of the apple cart. And I'm not here to
Well, that's where we're at.
Well, I
The
get
fucking
it.
apple
But we
cart's
don't-
about to get kicked over.
we don't have a Trump type figure. I'm not saying we need Trump. Trump is his own host of issues and whatnot.
Hey, he's
But
fucking doing some amazing shit
he's
down
doing
there.
a lot of amazing shit. He does stupid stuff too, but I would take some stupid
I've
with a
done
whole
way
bunch of
stupider.
good. I really would at this point. But we don't have a Trump.
Yeah.
We don't have anybody even entering the arena that's nearly that kind of guy. And here's the other part of the problem that I see in the doom and gloom. And I'm not talking about just Western separation. you're starting to see the pushback, and here's the problem when the pushback comes from regular citizens. It gets fucking ugly because that percolation that's happened, and we saw it in Bosnia, normal fucking people just went ballistic, butchering each other because that below the surface bubbling and percolation, when that thing steams and boils over, boy howdy, that's an ugly fight. And when you've done like what they've done in Australia and the UK and Europe and what's happening here, when people have felt like they've been disregarded and rejected for so long, like the West essentially feels, when you talk to most Westerners, it feels like, well, why do I bother voting? It's done when it hits Toronto. Like, my vote doesn't count for shit. And it doesn't. There's no one here can tell me it does. It doesn't. We don't get a say in how our government works. When something finally percolates, I don't know what it'll be. I don't know what'll cause it. Maybe it's one more terrorist attack. I don't know. Maybe it won't be Canada first. It could be Australia. It could be the UK. The UK,
Oh, they're that close.
they're fucking close. They're tired of the rape gangs. They're tired of their country going in the spot it is. I know a couple vets over there, 3 pair of dudes I've talked to recently. They're fucking done with it. Like, there's a lot of people that are fucking done with the way things are going in their country. And it's just going to take that one incident where people say enough. I don't know what it looks like. That's the doom and gloom I don't want to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's happened in the U.S., with Charlie Kirk and
Oh my God.
and
Here's
like
Charlie.
all these, you see these things that happen, and people try and, the mainstream media trying to justify it by saying, oh, his vitriol for anybody that opposed his opinion, and they create this narrative that it's a false narrative. It's not true. I mean, I didn't agree with everything Charlie Kirk said either, but that wasn't the point. The point was he was saying, if you don't agree with me, come talk to me about it, and let's see if we can find some common ground or resolve it or whatever. But you look at that single event and how damaging that is to the United States of America. It's unbelievable, man. And if
To the world.
well, and that's what I'm saying. Like the impact is greater than just the United States of America, and it's that kind of thing is happening in the States, in Canada, in Australia, in the UK. We've got people burning flags in the streets and
Churches,
like you said, saying "Death to Canada" and all this stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, you're biting the hand that feeds you, like. And for some reason, we're foolish enough to believe that turning a blind eye to that is the right way to go. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to the discussion we were having earlier about having people institutionalized or going to treatment centers.
What-
When Charlie Kirk died,
Not
I
Foam
cried.
Lake, the nut
I
house at Foam
cried.
Lake.
I cried like a baby for a week, and I remember
the
phoning.
nut house. That's the one.
Oh, that's what.
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
the
I
nut
remember
house.
phoning Sean. I'm like, just play Simple Man, like fucking just play that song, please. Like that song got me through.
But
Like,
those
it
are the
was-
events that are going to...
But the thing is with that whole thing, you've got people defending
Killing
his
someone.
death.
Yeah.
Well, but
And it's absolute insanity.
Yeah.
let's look at Charlie Kirk's death, though, right? So let's
I
go
got him
back.
going now. I got him going.
Let's go to Black Lives Matter.
We're here for
So
another
they
hour.
kill
at
that
least.
criminal. They choke him. He dies, either from being choked or he had a heart attack as he was so whacked out on drugs. They fucking burnt down how many government buildings, how many police officers got killed. There was riots through the entire country. Charlie Kirk gets killed. What happens? Nothing but prayer and peace. Like, that's the difference that we're talking about.
No, that's
here.
the difference for now.
No,
once that boils, that will be the next crusade unleashed.
Yeah. Well,
Market, and it may be the UK, Australia, it might be here, it might be the US, but it'll be whatever it is. When they do, you're right. When that side, the left,
that was a beautiful thing.
When the extreme left goes and starts looting, burning, doing what they do, and our side does vigils and holds prayer, I get it. I agree
That
with
was
you 100%. But it's our side that when the snap show starts, unfortunately, it goes all the fucking way.
Yeah, when you push good people to do bad things, I mean, you know, I think I may have mentioned this on the show before, Sean, but and you know, I don't want to make this about me, but you know, when we were in Afghanistan in 06 and a good friend of mine had said to me, you know, what are we doing here? We're like cavemen with clubs and we're just kind of beating each other. And I said, yeah, the good news is we got a bigger stick, but you know, it's a good question because people do have that question. I get asked that question all the time. What did we do in Afghanistan? And so my answer has always been this. And Chuck, you were there in Garmser. It would have been late July, I guess. Third week of July, we go into this town, Garmser. And I'll spare you all the details, but you know, we came into contact as soon as we got onto the other side of the bridge, and so I bombed this town all night because I was calling in airstrikes all night. And we were getting the engineers in to make sure the bridge wasn't wired to blow up so we could get across it. And the next day we go across and there's this old man. And I'm like, where did this motherfucker come from? And so he's walking down the road. So I grab my interpreter and I'm like, hey, ask this guy where he's going. He says, well, I'm going to work. Where do you work? I work at the gas station. I go, I dropped a 500-pound bomb on that fucker. It's a crater now. And he goes, I don't care. I told my boss I'm going. And he was clearly shell-shocked, right? This guy was like, right the fuck out of her. So I'm like, can I walk with you? He says, yes, please walk with me. And I said, well, where did you come from? And he goes, oh, there's a giant bunker under the mosque. And I'm like, oh, okay. So got it. Hey, go check the fucking mosque. But we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to go check it.
Yeah.
It's a religious place. We live up to our values. And we're like, we'll just wait here until people start coming out. So anyway, I walk with this guy. We get to the crater, which used to be the gas station. And he's like, fuck, the gas station's gone. I'm like, yeah, I told you that 10 minutes ago. And I go, but let's have chai, right? So the interpreter pulls out his fucking teapot. I don't know where the fuck he got it from. He must have had it in a pocket.
The secret pocket of them.
Yeah, secret chai pocket.
It's already, water's already hot.
Yeah, he's like, well, who wants tea?
It is 64 Celsius, so the water's already boiling.
So anyway, we sit down and have tea, and I go, hey, man, tell me what happened here. So this old man says, well, you know, the Taliban came in. I think Garmser's about 60 kilometers from the Pakistani border.
Yeah.
So it's not very far from the border. And he goes, the Taliban came here, and they killed all the policemen at the district center, except for one guy. They kept him alive. And then they called a meeting in the town square. And so in Afghanistan, in the town square, there's a well. That's where they all get their water from. And so the Taliban's there, and they got the whole town there, and they got a pile of guns in the corner. And they got the policeman on his knees beside the well, and they got a 12-year-old girl on her knees beside the well. And they go, NATO's going to come, and they're going to try and take the district center back. And that pile of guns over there is for everybody to take one and fight them when they get here, because they can't take the district center back. It's a symbol of authority in Afghanistan. And then without another word, they cut the throat of the police officer and the 12-year-old girl, and then they dismember them right there in the square and throw all their body parts in the well. Mm-hmm. And so to go back to the original question, what are you doing here? It was at that moment in time when I heard that story that I went, if I can save one 12-year-old girl, the police officer, yeah, you know, I want to save police officers too, but, you know, he's doing his job.
He doesn't get a VC.
That's
though.
right.
They don't have VCs in Afghanistan.
If I can prevent one 12-year-old girl from having her throat cut and being dismembered and thrown into a fucking well like a piece of meat, then I will kill every single one of these motherfuckers.
Fucking right.
Until I feel like I've been able to have that impact on this country. And so that became my mission. That became the reason why we were there. And if you look back on the years that Canada spent in Afghanistan, girls went to school, women formed parliament. There were female judges, you know, and it's not just about the women, but that was a big part of it. They were subjugated, and now to the point where they're not even allowed to speak in public anymore, right? And we as Canadians, again, somebody said it earlier, put our heads in the sand. after the big withdrawal a few years ago, it's back to the fucking Stone Ages, man. But I'll never say we didn't do a good thing, because they had a decade of peace. They had a decade of education. They had a decade of understanding what Christian values are all about. And you know, it just, the reason I tell you that story is because I think it's important. I think it's important that we have reasons, Chuck, that we have reasons for, and when they poked me enough, when I heard about that little girl and how she died, that was my reaction.
Yeah.
I want to kill everybody. Everybody that has a hand in this, everybody that thinks that that's okay, they cannot walk this earth any longer, because that's the face of evil.
Yeah.
My platoon took that district center when we launched that fight, and we killed the fuck out of everybody that had a little bit to do with that. There was no... We didn't hear that particular story right away. We heard later as guys started to filter through back to their stores or back to their homes to check shit. We were there about 5, 6, 7 days backing them up. And we heard parts of that story, parts of other stories just as horrible. And I was happy to fucking kill as many of them as I could. Happy. I giggled while I did it. I'd go back and do it again. But you get asked that question all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Was it worth it? Well, I don't know if it was fucking worth it, but like Willie said, I got asked by a reporter in 06, I don't remember who they worked for, what it would take to win the war in this country. Well, I said, you give every woman here a cell phone and the internet. And the reporter, she's like, probably thought I was retarded. Maybe I'm probably borderline. I don't know. I'm probably dysfunctional on some level. But I was like, you give them the ability to see what's out there and communicate and organize. It's the women are going to drive this thing, because the men there are kind of shitty. Like, if they're not raping each other, they're raping goats and shit. Like, and that's no joke. Like, they're not good people.
Well, and there's just so much tribal shit going on.
It's tribal shit. If they're not fighting us, they're fighting each other.
Getting back to what Chuck and Willie are saying, that picture I sent you, I was on the school that girl was from, and that they lit on fire. And we were expected to all get killed that day. That's why I took that picture, because I never like, did I ever think I would die in battle? Well, that was part of the job. Like, you kind of always know that, but I never wrote a letter to anybody. I never, like, they would take pictures of us prior to going out, like when you first get there. So if you do get killed, you got a picture. I never had any of that. So I'm like...
No, I didn't have a picture either.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, if today's the day...
No picture.
Yeah. If today's the day, I at least want them to have a picture of my determination, and that I was proud to die that day beside my brothers, fighting for that little girl in the well and that police officer. And Willie's totally right about that motivation. My add to that would also be is, like, once again, there's 20 years of peace where they could be educated and hopefully get the fuck out of there.
Or make it a better place for themselves.
Yeah.
They had the opportunity,
But it all went to shit. But the other thing we took billions of dollars of economy that was generated by the drug war or the drug trade. So that money was going to terrorism. We stopped that for 20 years of fighting. So that money didn't get to terrorist organizations around the world to kill people in our own country. And I was very proud of that as well.
Willie talked about our fight in Hyderabad, and I've got trophy pictures with it before the general flew in.
Don't say anything, Chuck.
But there's $25 million in black tar heroin. Like, these weren't your average Taliban farmers. These were kitted up, geared up dudes that we were into it with for like 4, 5, 6, however long that fight was. It was a brutal fight.
But the intel you guys got
was 6 dudes
that led right back to Canada.
Yeah.
And,
we got the book.
And
we got the finance book.
And when they were going to blow up that nuclear reactor outside of Toronto,
Chalk River.
No, it wasn't Chalk River. Pickering.
Yeah, Pickering, yeah.
So that intel that was gathered from these two at that fight got back to Canada. They found the guys that were going to fucking blow it up, because it's all a money trail. So these guys stopped the nuclear reactor from being blown up in Canada. So like that all means something. And a good friend of ours, Von Ingram, that got killed later that year, when he got wounded first, I fucking went and got a wine bottle from my stash. Went and got a fake wine.
It had Pepsi in it.
Yeah, went and got a fake
So did all my
wine from
shampoo
the
bottles.
PX, and I peeled the label off because it was wet, and I put it over the real wine bottle. And I went and got a porn mag from my stash, and I went and got a fucking Sports Illustrated magazine from the PX, took the cover off, slid it over the porn mag, took it into the roll one where Vaughn was being treated. And the nurses are like, what do you got? Oh, I got a Sports Illustrated magazine and some fake wine. I want to see my buddy Vaughn and see how he's doing. Oh, come this way. And we sat there on his bed. He's got, like, he almost lost his eyes. He's got shrapnel all over
An
his
RPG
face.
hit his vehicle and splashed his face hard.
Yeah. So I'm like, Vaughn, you're going home, and we're drinking wine. And he's like, oh, I'll look at that porn bag later. And I'm like, I appreciate that. Like, I don't want to let you leave. So anyways, we're drinking wine, and we're talking about him going home. And he's like, I'm not going.
No.
I'm staying here. The last action where these guys found that book, and it led back to stopping that threat in Toronto from blowing up that nuclear reactor. He's like, my daughter was at a dance school in Toronto, and I had a niece that was down there at the same time. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm here to fight. I'm a leader of men. I can't leave my men. I'm staying to fight. And he eventually got killed in a battle on August 3rd, where he was recommended for a Victoria Cross. And so were maybe some other people that we don't know about yet, because it's all in the documents that haven't been opened up yet. But anyways, when you're around these environments and you speak to these people and you see what they've done, I don't want to fucking cry. And I cry out of pride, Willie.
You're a fucking crybaby.
It's not because I'm a fucking crybaby. It's because I'm proud of you fuckers. But yeah, it's so getting back to the Victoria Cross and the hours that Eddie puts on a phone or fucking behind a computer, like writing and getting a hold of every fucking person he can, and same with Cliff and Hillier and what's the other fella's name?
Bruce Wonker.
Like, if you guys out there want to do something, I implore you, first of all, do something in your home to make it better in your community. But if you want to do something that you might think is a little bit bigger than what you're able to do, get hold of your MP and support these guys, and get the word out.
Thank you, Jim. That's amazing. You're a beautiful human being.
Of course, I'm amazing.
Don't be a fucking crybaby. I wanted to go back, and I don't know how much time we have, Sean. Are you like, hey, I'm just gonna let you guys fucking do what you do?
I've been kind of.
He has no choice.
I think Jamie's going for another.
I am not leaving here until I drink. We got another case of beer over there.
So he was talking about he went to his stash to get wine. And I got to tell you this story, and Chuck, you may have heard this story, and Sean, you've probably heard this story. A good friend of ours, I won't say his name because I don't want him to be, implicated in a crime. He was sending me care packages in Afghanistan in 2006, and I'd get this care package, and it weighed like fucking 15 pounds, and it's 12 fucking tubes of Pringles. And I'm like, well, Pringles don't fucking actually weigh that much. So I'd open this bitch up, and every tube of Pringles, you can put 3 fucking beers in one of those things. So he was a rugby player, and he got all the rugby guys to eat Pringles nonstop, and he was and mailing me these care packages full of beer. And then another friend of mine, a military guy at the time, he would go to like Costco or whatever, and he would get those big flats of like juice boxes, right? Like you can put in your kid's lunch. And he took a syringe. This is how fucking dedicated he was. Took a syringe and he sucked all the fucking juice out. He was in the Air Force.
He had nothing better to do.
Sucked all the juice out of the bottom of the bottom, not the top, the bottom. Sucked all the juice out, and then refilled it with whiskey and wine. So every juice box was like a fucking advent calendar. You didn't know what you were gonna get until you put the fucking straw in and started sucking on that.
And he
bitch.
put a piece of wax over the hole.
He would
so it
wax
wouldn't
over the
leak.
hole so it wouldn't leak. So anyway, I got all this fucking booze, and you know, I'm a rule follower, Sean. Always have been. So the booze was coming in, and the place I lived in Kandahar Airfield was called Camp Samak, and it was a tent, and it had these giant air conditioning units that were running through the top of it like a big pipe. So I put all the booze up there.
So there's big sags in the pipe. Eh?
Oh yeah, it's fucking pipe
what do you
sagging
got
on.
there?
What's going
Nothing.
on? It must
Nothing.
be a fucking water leak or something. I don't know. It fucking rained hard last night. Never fucking rained. Anyway, August 3rd happens. We roll back into Kandahar, and I say to the boys, I'm like, there's a wooden door on the tent, right? And it's really just to keep honest people honest. And so I'm like, close that door, make sure nobody can get in here, put on the tunes, somebody go buy 2 cartons of smokes because we're going to smoke cigarettes and fucking get hammered.
You're like, where you got the booze?
Yeah. So I pull all this fucking booze out, eh? And there's maybe 12 of us, and we start fucking giving her. And so anyway, long story short, and maybe I should segue to the Sergeant Major. The Sergeant Major is... He comes up to the tent, and I can hear the door is he's trying to open the door, and I'm looking at my buddy Sully, who's like supposed to have made sure the door is unopenable. Well, you know, I mean, Pathfinder couldn't tie a fucking knot to save his life. Door comes fucking flying open. Sergeant Major's standing there. We're smoking cigarettes inside the tent, fucking hammered. And I'm
They
like,
just got
fuck.
back from losing 3 dudes, 17 wounded, like that
Yeah.
same night.
So Sergeant Major comes into the fucking tent, and he's like, he can't see. He's fucking wafting smoke out of the way, and he's like, everybody get outside and form up. I'm like, fuck me. So we go out, we form up, and he's standing in front of us, and he's kind of shaking his head. Platoon commander's not there because he got injured, so he was gone.
Big hole in his foot.
So now I'm the fucking man, and so I'm like, Sergeant Major, this is all my fault. And he goes, shut the fuck up. So I'm like, fuck. Okay. So we're barely standing because we're all so fucking drunk. And he comes walking by the front row of soldiers because, like I said, there's 12 of us. We're formed up in 2 ranks of 6. And he goes, recce platoon, hey? He goes, I just wanted to come by, and it was Kenny Zach, right? And he goes, I just wanted to come by and fucking shake all your hands because you guys did some fucking pretty good work today. And he shook everybody's hand, walked through the 2 ranks, shook everybody's hand. He got to me at the end, and he goes, when you go back in there, make sure that nobody can open that fucking door. and I'll never forget it because it's one of the best leadership lessons of my life. I was so fucking proud of that guy. I was so proud of my guys. Like, you know, the Sergeant Major was willing to go, you need to fucking blow off some steam, man. You know, we're going to bury these fucking guys, and we're not literally going to bury them, but we're going to put them on a fucking airplane in the next day or 2. And we got the hospitals filled with our dudes, and it's just like, he understood that. And so anyway, the reason I'm telling this story is not to fucking get anybody all fucking weepy-eyed. The next day or 2 days later, fucking Sinclair gets back to Kandahar Airfield, and I'm in
Because
my...
I was out chasing a rocket,
I'm
man.
in my air-conditioned tent.
I was
fucking
asked-
sleeping. Sorry, oh fuck, I touched
I
the
was
camera.
asked to come back and be part of the ramp ceremony because I knew that Vaughn and I were good buddies.
Yeah. So
I decided not to come because I knew Vaughn wouldn't leave an operation because I got killed. So I stayed where I was. And when I did come back, because I obviously know about fucking beer because it's our same buddy. I'm like, all right, let's have a fucking beer. Let's hear the story. He goes, what beer? I'm like, fuck you, the beer, like, and I look and the hump is gone. It's fucking flat again. He's like, I couldn't help it. We fucking drank them all. It was
drank
fucking insane.
everything.
And I'm like, okay, rightly so.
Fuck
But
you,
I
MacDonald.
was getting wine and cognac from the French commandos.
I
So
never
I'm
shared
like,
it with me.
Hey, I did later. because we had no fucking beer, so I had to get something.
And
So-
we weren't allowed to have any booze on that tour. Like that was like an $1,800 fine or something if you got caught with booze or. It was,
Until they gave us
But-
booze on Canada Day.
Canada
Yeah,
Day.
a whole-
That was
yeah.
a fucking shit
Did we ever
show.
tell you about Canada Day?
No, you haven't.
So-
That's insane.
Somehow convinced the platoon commander we have to go back to Kandahar for Canada Day. And he's like, fine, fucking whatever. We go back to Kandahar Airfield. I think it was Labatt's. Was it Labatt's or was it Molson?
I thought it was
I
Molson.
thought it was Molson.
It was one of the two of them sent like 2 sea cans fucking filled with beer and said, this is for the Canadian
Sea
troops."
cans?
Sea cans.
Sea can.
yeah.
Connex,
Refrigerated
Connexes, whatever you want to call them.
containers, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
To Kandahar and said, this is for the troops for Canada Day. And I don't know who was playing the CanCon show or whatever.
I don't remember either.
Anyway, fucking the CQs, the company quartermasters, they got a roll of tickets and they're like, okay, everybody can have 2 beers. And of course, those of us that knew, we were like, CQ, can I have like 15 tickets? And okay, but I'm only giving you 2 at a time so we don't get in trouble. So anyway, it got to the point where people are getting a little bit. We had
There's
drank,
10,000 people on this.
Jovial.
There's 10,000 people on this base.
Everybody else
and there's
is
only
dry.
400 Canadians.
Everybody
with
else is
booze.
dry except for us, and there's troops walking around puking and fucking hammered,
Starting
and
fights.
pissing in the corners, and so the Americans were very fucking uptight about it. They were like, "Oh my god, these Canadians are all fucking hammered."
Have you ever
What's
seen
going
Lord
on?"
of the Rings where they got the all-seeing eye? Well, they got the all-seeing eye in Kandahar. So they got this big tower and you can see the camera looking at you as you're fucking. So like, they're like, holy fuck, what's going on in the Canadian sector? They're all fucking drunk.
So yeah, the colonel goes, all right, fucking, we got to fucking shut this down. So he sends the word, fucking shut it down, lock up the fucking sea cans, send everybody home. So anyway, it takes a couple hours for all the drunk fucking troops to find their way home, whatever. And then the
then
next day,
No, but then we come back with the
yeah,
master key.
yeah, but it wasn't until the next day, because I told you I followed the rules, Sean. I went to bed. I might have had 1 or 2 more. But anyway, next day it's like, oh yeah, somebody took the fucking master key and cut the locks on the sea cans, and there's no fucking beer left.
Yeah.
So the troops, because
Two
the troops
empty
are
sea
troops, right?
containers.
They
Empty.
went and cut the fucking locks off and fucking ran off with all the booze, and it was chaos. And there was drunk Canadians fucking everywhere.
It was
All
it
the
was-
other contingents were very
was-
like fucking. The
those-
Dutch were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it."
The British were like, "Where'd you get your booze from?"
Yeah,
to go back to Winston Churchill, he was quoted saying, "If we want to get this war over with," and I'm talking World War II, he goes, "Give every Canadian soldier a fucking bottle of whiskey, a 45 pistol, and a Harley Davidson, and a leaf pass that says Berlin is off limits, and the fucking war will be over." Yeah.
We got ours off the CIA dog handlers. Just got whatever we wanted from them.
Oh,
all the
yeah.
time.
My
Or
sec-
out in the field, we get our A&E guys to go
or
to the
you
next
went
town.
to Graceland or Gecko.
Graceland
or-
was
Yeah, I
good
couldn't
too.
go there.
Yeah,
My second time there, I was very fortunate. I had a sea container on the airfield, and I had like all kinds of shit stored in there for uniforms for my guys and extra equipment. But I also had cases of fucking Crown Royal whiskey, and I ran into a situation where we had like a Dishka, like a Russian machine gun. We used to have to use a screwdriver to fire a rebar like tripod for it. It was fucking garbage. Our farthest contact point was 5 kilometers, and we couldn't hit it to fucking save our lives, and that's where they'd mortar us from. So I had this American sergeant major as a jumper, and I would videotape all my we'd fight twice a day, and I'd always review the tape, and then I'd fucking try and make corrections, and because there was a language barrier, I'd use video. So he's looking at this and he sees this fucking Dishka and it's fucking rattling around and using a screwdriver. He's like, fuck, that's some pretty shitty equipment. I go, yeah, I'd love to have some of that stuff that the officers in Canada decorate their offices with, and it's all captured Russian equipment. He goes, you want that shit? I'm like, fucking right, I do. He goes, well, I'm the camp sergeant major. If you want it next time you're back there, I'll fucking give it to you. I'm like, really? And I go, when are you going back? He goes, I'm flying out tomorrow. I got 30 officers I'm taking back on a Chinook. I'm like, I'm on it with you. He goes, you can't. Like, it's right full. I go, here's my fucking travel document. So I got travel access of a general. So they bumped to some junior officer. I got on the aircraft, flew back to Canada with him. Next
He missed
morning,
the birth of his child.
yeah, next morning I show up at his office. He goes, what do you need? I need a fucking document of paper with your signature on saying I can have whatever weapon I want from wherever I'm taking it from that's Russian. And I need a 5-ton truck. I need like 5 guys and a forklift because I don't know what I'm lifting up, right? So fucking half an hour later, I'm having coffee in his office. I get this paper. I look outside. There's a fucking 5-ton truck, a bunch of troops, and a forklift. And I started in the office he was in. I'm like, okay, I'll take that PKM. I'll take that Dishka. And I just went around this entire camp. 10,000 people in this camp. I fucking took everything I wanted. This 5-ton truck looks like a porcupine. There's barrels sticking out of this thing everywhere. But they've been sitting out in the sun and they've never been cleaned in years and they need some servicing. So I go to the British camp and this is why I'm telling this story just because Chuck was like, where's the booze? Yeah. So I tell the Americans to stay outside of the laydown. I drive into the British laydown. I find their weapons deck. I'm like, where's your warrant officer? Boy's over there. I'm like, I get my Toyota Helix truck. I got a big fucking beard. I look like groundskeeper Willie. I got scraggly fucking bald hair. And anyways, I take him out to this truck full of weapons. And he goes, okay, what do you want done with them? I'm like, I need them all clean, serviceable, pre-fired, and put on a Chinook down the lines that's heading to Balo. Every time a fucking Chinook goes out to Balo, put weaponry on it. He goes, okay, what's in it for me? I'm like, I knew you were going to ask that. And I take him back to my Toyota truck, flip open the tarp, and there's 2 cases of Crown Royal whiskey there. He looks at the 5-ton truck, follow me! So we drive into the camp, and he's like, all right, boys, fucking unload this truck and fucking get this shit cleaned up. So I went and got paid for my guys. I fucking take it back. A week later, the first Chinook lands with all these new officers, and they're rolling out like the Dishka that's on like a wheeled, it looks like a small artillery piece. We roll it right up to the tower where we shoot at this Camelback, and that's where they would mortar us from. Fucking game changer. Like the total battlefield changed that day when we started getting this equipment. Yeah. And not only did he give me all of the fucking weaponry there, I said, instead of when you confiscate Russian ammunition, you blow it up and destroy it. Start sending that shit out to us too. Like just directly send it to us. We'll clean it. We'll service it. We'll fucking make it useful. So we used to run in black ammunition, which means we have no ammo. So when there was a fight, I'd have to go over there and like give authorization to my guys to shoot back, or I would shoot whoever needed to be shot. I was kind of like an acting platoon commander with these Afghans. But anyways, it was just an amazing game changer in life. And it all goes back to the Brits. Where's my booze?
Where's my booze?
Well, it's a fucking great story about, Canadian Soldier Initiative, and Jim's embraced it from the second he watched Kelly's Heroes. In terms,
there was no goal.
What do you take in trade? And he's like, I know, I got you. You just got to get me.
Yeah.
And it's funny how there's a lot of war movies out there, and that's a consistent theme. Is there's always a deal maker. There's always somebody that's making shit happen, because you can't get it done through the regular.
You watch
channels.
MASH, the old TV show. It's all about the barter. It's all about the trade or the steel or the.
Well, we'll look at our carriers when we first got there. We had no blast blankets. I went up to my CQ. I'm like, there's no fucking blast blankets, and we had all these sea containers in our laydown. I'm like, give me the master key. I started cutting up. I opened up all these sea containers, and there was artillery pieces in there. They're
fucking
an American
TVs.
unit that was taking them back to wherever. I opened one sea container, 40 feet long, 8 feet by 8 feet, stacked right to the roof with blast blankets. And I made my fucking driver haul all the shit out, and we put blast blankets everywhere. We were the first vehicle out of the wire that got blown up. And it was right underneath his seat. And our good buddy Bowen, it happened, he was in my platoon in Recce. He got his ass fucking blown off. And if we would have had blast blankets, it would have saved his ass. But it did save this young kid's ass, and he fucking thanked me like for the whole
The
rest of the entire
blonde
tour.
skinny kid. He was a driver. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't remember his name.
We ended up actually giving blast blankets to the Brits because these poor
Oh,
fuckers,
fuck.
they're rolling around in,
Yeah.
in Land Rovers.
Yeah.
With no blast blankets.
Their
and-
metal plate was the size of a fucking card, like a deck of
yeah,
cards.
it
They went
literally
over their
just
heart.
covered their heart. I mean, listen, our ceramic plates were so big and cumbersome and fucking.
Thank fuck,
miserable.
though. Thank fuck.
But those guys, their plates literally were like designed to cover just
Packet
like
of
it's gonna
cigarettes.
save your life. Like you could get shot somewhere else. It's not gonna kill you immediately. We want you
You'll
to fucking
suffer.
suffer.
You will suffer. And
But it's not
bleed
going to
out.
kill you immediately. This little tiny fucking plate.
Yeah.
And they had
Oh,
no
it's-
blast blankets. And they're like, please, can we have some blast blankets? And we were like, yeah, fuck yeah, man.
There's a
We want some
40-foot
blast
sea
blankets,
container
yeah.
over there. Bugging up yourself.
Absolute savage fighters, though.
You know, if I keep this going, they're going to drink that case of beer.
Fuck,
Fuck,
we're,
we're 4 beers
already
away,
done
man. We're
12.
4 beers away.
We're already done 12. We're fucking gonna crack that second one.
Chuck's driving back tonight.
Fuck him.
He's
Hey,
fine.
listen. listen.
It's quarter
That's
to
his own
5.
choice. That's his own fucking.
It's
that
only
isn't our
quarter
fault.
to 5.
That isn't our fault.
But listen, Sean, I'm glad you jumped in because you got to have some more questions for
Yeah.
us. I mean, you've been patiently
turn.
listening
Your
to
turn.
us talk
Your
shit.
turn. You're the pro here.
You know what's been bugging me
What?
is your you keep somehow you keep adjusting it and your mic keeps going lower and lower.
yeah.
I feel like you're gonna be talking like this. Like could you just raise up
That's why I should have been here at the beginning. I'd fucking
no,
sort this shit
not
out
that,
for-
Jamie, not that. This, look. You could just. Oh my
Oh,
good.
look at
Oh
that.
my
Oh
goodness.
God, that kind
damn.
of scares me.
We can hear you now.
Jesus Christ.
Every time you go up for a leak, your mic setting just
Give
gets
me a
even
pill.
worse.
Give me a pill or a hose. That's all I need.
Yeah.
You know what? No. Hey, listen. This is my own thing. No, this is beautiful. I love this setup. This is my own issue. I'm not asking you to change a goddamn thing. Except for we got to get you some fucking army flags in here.
Well,
And a beer fridge.
And a fucking beer fridge.
Whoa! Everybody, just relax, okay? You come in and okay. I do the first podcast in here, and then I get texts. Twos calls me. Shout out to Twos, and he's like, "You know, what you need to."
Love you,
And I'm
brother.
like, "Before you say anything, I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen over the next month. That wall needs to get finished, and then when that wall gets finished, a whole bunch of things are
I
going
kind
to
of
change.
like
in
it the
there.
way it is. kind of like it the way
You
it is.
wait until it's
I've
it's
been
done.
trying to figure out how to arrange those fucking foam things.
I wanna know where the gun range is going to be. Where's
It's
the
like
gun range?
even with the fucking window thing, it's been going through my head for
You know,
2 hours
I
now.
can't wait for Jack to be editing this and be like, "What the heck is going on behind Chuck's head?" And I'm like, you know what? Everybody just relax, okay? Nobody's worried about the 18 bottles of beer in front of these two yahoos. No, they're gonna nitpick a couple of things.
It's four.
I
It's
tell you
not
what,
that big a deal.
in another month's time or in a couple months' time, when you boys are back in, you're gonna be like, "Now this is more like
I
it."
love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
Hey,
I
and
mean,
a shout out to all the guys that did all this.
Yeah.
Like amazing carpentry.
Yep.
thank you.
You know, fucking good stuff. And Chuck cutting trees down. I noticed he dropped one or two on them fancy cars out there, but fucking
Actually,
buff that
you know,
shit out.
you know when
buff that out.
there was a
Buff that
giant. Chuck
My
can
dad's a
attest to
TV
this.
repairman.
When we came and cut trees down, there was a giant one that was broke, and it was leaning on like 4 trees, and you could hear it every time the wind went. They'd all start creaking, and they cut it down with. They tied it off, and then 2 guys with
Cut it
chainsaws.
down with tooth floss.
Troy Clark and I think it was Rhett Fountain. Was there a third in there? Might have been Seth Bloom, maybe. There was a group of them. They tied it off at the top, and then they pulled on it with a long freaking rope. I was amazed. Instead of like taking, because the dad and my dad and 2 of my older brothers have a trucking company, so we were going to get a picker out to hook onto it. That way they could just cut it and then just lift it out of there. And then they're like, no, we want the challenge. We want the challenge. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Just don't let it drop on the old car. And when they laid it down, Jamie, it was probably like 4 inches from that car.
Nice.
And it was like perfection. And that was a
Chavs.
giant tree that came down.
Pros.
So there's been a lot of cool people lay their hands on this project, which has been a lot of fun
Yeah.
to work with. Yeah.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Send them down to Regina Beach later. I got fucking. I might got something.
I tell you what, if anyone's going camping, they should stop at Regina Beach. They should come and totally see. You've had a few come through, I believe.
And keep phoning, because I've had, like, this last summer, I had like 2 or 3 people phone me. They came in, they had fucking great time. From Manitoba, and I apologize for forgetting your names right now. Like, I've been blown up twice. And beat
What was
up
it, Lee?
several times.
Was Lee
Lee,
one?
yeah, Lee was one of them.
Yeah.
And shout out to Morley. I phoned him on the way up here. I said, Willie and I are going to be in Lloyd. You coming up for some beers? He's like, I'd fucking love to, but I got to move a rig. So shout out to Morley. He's another fucking beaut. There's another big bastard out of Rocky Mountain House. Big cattle farmer, good dude. He was at your Cornerstone.
Drew?
Kid B. He phoned for my number. He phoned you for my number.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Whatever name you say, he's going to say yes.
Well, Drew McKay is
Is he from Rocky Mountain House?
from Rocky.
Big, tall son of a
big
bitch.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fucking.
Big
And
man.
that's a guy that, like, he'd be a fucking great man to take to battle. Just a fucking beast of a man. Well, so would Morley. He's a bit of a maniac. We'd have to put some supervision on him. He'd be fucking running around killing everything.
Supervision never worked with you.
Yeah. Hey, fuck, you got to keep up to
It
supervise
still
me.
fucking doesn't. It's just like, okay, like when I went to Regina a couple weeks ago, and it was like, okay, we're going to see the mayor, and then we're going to CBC, and then we're going to go see the premier, and we're going to blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, man, you're my new
Press agent?
yeah.
I'm his
my
fucking
new agent. I'll just go wherever you tell me.
It was
Because
fun.
if I argued, it wouldn't have mattered. Like one bit. It would have just been like, I don't care.
Did we not have fun?
It would
We
have
did.
been.
We had a great time.
It would have been. Hey,
We had a great time.
Fucking go, get in the truck.
We met a guy from BC, a granola head in the
Oh, that guy.
hotel
He was a
staff.
doctor.
Yeah, doctor from BC. Yeah, he
know
was
what
there drinking LJ fucking slushies or whatever
Wearing
they do.
upside down pineapple shirts and shit. It's like, oh my God. All right, let's hear what he has to say.
Gentlemen, appreciate you coming in and doing this. And
Are you shutting us down?
Hey,
I am.
Wait a minute.
I am.
Hang on.
I am gonna shut it.
We're not done. We're not
We
ready.
just opened a beer. You got to give us at least that much. Come on.
you know what's funny,
Come
Chuck?
on.
So these two, they show up late, you know. We all wait on Jamie, and then they're going to give me
I drove through a fucking ice storm. 5 hours.
Don't want to hear your excuses, Jamie. Don't
Well,
want to
then
hear them.
Fuck you. Come on. You got to give us 5 minutes.
I think we should. I think maybe.
Jesus.
I think maybe Chuck should tell the Hyderabad story. That'd be a fitting end to this whole
Sure.
shit show of a
what the
really
battle?
good podcast. Yeah, just talk through it. Talk through it, man.
Okay, I'll hit the highlights anyway. So yeah, it was mid July. We got woken up in a big leaguer, like hundreds of vehicles at night. We roll in. We're like 11 o'clock. We're gonna get some sleep. No problem. We haven't slept in I don't know how long now, and we're not even gonna do watch because there's all these vehicles. But in half an hour after getting down, got woken up. Well, you're gonna go hit a spot. Like, okay, so we go do orders. Like get the spiel of what we're gonna go do. Like, Recce's going to go in with some snipers, and they're going to get eyes on the spot. And it's an IED factory. There's like 6 dudes, and it's a hard knock. Hard knock, you get to kill them. There's no, hey. And you just go in and do it, which is great. So we're like, fucking yeah, let's go do this thing. So Recce's going to secure it, sniper overwatch. We're going to go bust it in and smash it up. About 4 a.m, we're rolling, we're moving. And this place is only a couple kilometers, maybe 5 kilometers from the leaguer. And the light is just starting to come up. And we can hear, who is your signaler, the stutterer? Schmitty. Which is funny because
Yeah, 2 setters.
the platoon commander, John Hamilton, also has a bit of a stutter. So it's always funny to hear them argue. But at first you can hear Smitty on the radio saying, like, we're going to be in contact. Like, he's basically predicting they're going to be in a fight. And sure as shit, seconds later, it just looks like the sky is lit up. There's tracer everywhere. RPGs going off everywhere. And we'd been told, our platoon had been told, you are not to go in until the OC releases you to go in. Like a very formal kind of a battle plan kind of thing. More normally, we're just like shooting, go, get, kill.
That should tell you a lot about the OC.
Yeah. He was
we
not
won't
with
say-
us
we
at the.
won't say
Who was
anymore.
also he was not with us. It was just our platoon going in to do this assault. So with Recce and sniper dets. So we're watching this gunfight from maybe 300-400 meters away in our tuck down position, and we're just like, this is way too much. Like I know all the Recce guys. Like I'm friends with most of them. There's only a handful of them. There's not like a whole bunch of you.
12. There's 12.
12 of you. And we're like, this is way bigger than 6 dudes shooting at them. So I'm looking at my platoon commander, who's a young guy, very young guy, good guy, replaced our first guy that got
Ben,
blown up.
right?
Ben Richards, yeah.
Good dude,
Yeah,
man.
very solid.
dude.
Our first platoon commander got blown up earlier in the tour. John
Got his
Croucher.
heel blown off.
Yeah, great guy. John,
Yeah,
great
Croucher
platoon
was
commander,
good,
very
man.
solid platoon commander, great human too. So we're looking at him, telling him we got to fucking go. We have to fucking go. All of us in the back of our hatches are like, we have to go. And he's doing I'm waiting on word. And finally he says, fuck it. Now he'd only been in country like a month. So and we were already cowboy platoon, which he'd been told to rein in. So he was kind of like, but by this point we'd kind of broken him.
Some pretty strong characters there.
He'd become one of us, I think, at this point. Yeah, he had. We'd broken him.
Can I stop you
Yeah.
for a minute? When he first got to Afghanistan, we were at Martello.
Martello, yeah.
And
We'd just been IED'd with
there was a town called Chalbar where a Chinook had been shot down a couple months earlier. And so we get a task from the colonel to go do an observation post on Chalbar, and there's going to be an air mobile assault the next day. And so Ben Richards, first he gets to Kandahar, he flies in, brand new replacement platoon commander, and he is like so
Shiny as a
clean
brand new button.
Yeah.
and shiny. And I remember my platoon, we'd been out in the rhubarb for about 3 weeks, and Mark Pickford comes over with this new guy, and he's like, and so it's your platoon that's going to come do the air mobile. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to go set up here, here, and here. And I'm thinking we're going to put, landing sites here, here, and here. And we'll set up a fire base for you guys and Overwatch and all this. And I'm talking to Mark Pickford, which was Chuck's platoon warrant, and the platoon commander, Ben, is standing beside him, and he's like trying to engage in the conversation. And finally I look at Mark and I go, who the fuck is this guy? He goes, oh, that's the new platoon commander. I'm like, all right. Okay, so yeah, you just go stand over there. Let the adults take care of this, and then you just do what Mark tells you to do. And he's kind of looking like, I
You're a
have no
fucking
fucking
asshole.
idea what I got myself into
Yeah.
here. And it was fucking hilarious. Anyway, carry on. It was,
we had been without a platoon commander for going on 2 months, and we were probably already the least controllable group of assholes there were in that bunch. And so they sent us a ring knocker. Ring knockers, they'd been to the special college and they drank tea differently than their other officers. And he was supposed to catch us up into line, and we got him, and we're like, we broke him quick. Anyway, turned out to be a great fighter, good guy.
yeah, awesome, dude.
Yeah. So we're watching this gunfight, and finally Ben's like, fuck it, we're going. And you just see him mouth, we can't hear over the vehicles and the gunfire. He's like, fuck it, we're going. And he does the old judo chop, and we're like, yes, let's fucking go. So we're hungry our friends, we're listening to John Hamilton, their platoon commander, on the radio, one transmission saying, we are about to be overrun if we don't get help. We're about to be overrun. And we're like, we have to fucking go. So we bust up, and it turns out there's not 6 dudes, there's closer to 50 plus dudes from the counts we had. And we roll through and we fight. We're literally in our vehicles trying to get up to where they are, smashing away at the Taliban on our way in. And we come up, I'm not going to too much into this part of the story, but we see there.
When you say you're sitting there and you're like, we got to go. The thing is, it 13 hours in Benghazi?
Yeah.
Is that the movie?
Yeah.
Where they're sitting there and they're like, they can hear the place that's like 5 minutes down the road being attacked, and like, we got to go. And
gotta
they're
go
like,
right
well, we can't
fucking
get,
now.
we can't go.
It's
And
the
they're
worst feeling in the world, waiting when you know your friends are
under attack.
getting pummeled. They're telling you, like, it's bad if one of your friends is saying, it's about to go, we're going to be done. Because you don't say that on the radio. Like, you'll fight through whatever you're fighting through, But when it's that bad and somebody says it on the radio, it's fucking bad. Probably worse than it is. So we're at this point, me and two of the other squad leads in the back of the cars were like, we're just fucking going. And then Ben was like, we're doing it. Let's go. And as we roll through, Willie's platoon's empty vehicles were in a piece of ground hidden away. And at the time, and I'm not going to get into this part of the story because it's not meant for here. It isn't.
Yeah.
But one of our mutual friends had somebody in a leadership position and was throttling them basically. And because there wasn't any help coming towards them from those vehicles, if you know what I mean. So somebody was really dropping the ball hard here when a gunfight is happening 100 meters away, 200 meters away, maybe. So
it was probably 200-300 meters.
200-300 meters.
Like just to be fair. Yeah. It was
a couple hundred meters.
Yeah.
But they could have got it. He could have got them
close enough.
Yeah.
Yep.
Close enough. So we're all like watching this as we drive by, like, this is fucking weird, and go on into the fight, and we drop ramps and we're doing our thing. Mars Janik, another huge human in Recce platoon. He takes a round in the back in his plate. Thankfully, they're big plates because he's a monster of a man. Knocks him over. He gets, your medic. I don't remember your medic's name. Scotty?
No, Jason Lamont.
Jason Lamont.
He was dragging him in a ditch.
And actually, Jason Lamont got the Medal of Military Valor for
Yeah.
that because Mars went down. I thought he was fucking dead.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming, Mars is down, Mars is down. And this kid, he's just like, it's bowling alley, it's open field.
Yeah.
This kid's like, I got to go help him. Gets up, runs across the open fucking terrain, bullets skipping at his feet, dives into the fucking ditch where Mars is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a different story.
Well, and Mars is, with gear on, had to have been 350
Oh,
pounds easily.
Big motherfucker.
He was 240 for sure.
And Lamont is like what?
Yeah. 150
He
pounds.
was 6 inches taller than me.
Yeah, probably. But this is
But he
what I'm
wasn't
talking
made
like.
out of solid
This
steel, sex
guy
appeal.
knows he's probably anticipating getting hit and goes to do what he can. Now Mars at some point fucking shrugs his shoulders a little bit and is like, I'm good. I'm fighting. Let's do this. Because he's Mars fucking Janik. Also beauty on the third, Mars fucking Janik again. Like beauty. So we roll in and we've broken this. Imagine this table is the Taliban surrounding Recce. We've now inserted ourselves in the middle of this circle of chaotic shit going on. And we're like, well, this was a horrible idea. Like, now we're here. And there's not a bunch of us either. Like you'd said earlier, I think you said like a third of your guys are all gone on leave at any point. And I think at this point leave was done, but we'd left a third of our fighting force in Martello, a useless camp.
That was
A
fucking
useless
big boy.
camp. So I'm dismounting with me and 3 dudes. I should have 7, which is still not enough, but 7's better than, me and 3 dudes. And we're all in this situation. So we get out and we're looking around like, well, there's Recce. Recce's doing a thing here. And it's really loud over here. Let's go shoot this shit up. And we run into a couple of the snipers that were there and they're engaging heavily.
I think they shot more guys with their rifles than their sniper rifles.
Oh, yeah,
They did.
totally.
They did. Yeah.
Totally.
But the snipers were super effective that day. And
Yeah, they were.
Long story short, because I know we're short on time, it turned
No, we're
out
not. We're here fucking. We got a case of beer there, Chuck.
that battle lasted a solid 4 or 5 hours.
I
I mean, there was
different
different
story after. You can't just have. I never even got to say one.
that there was different parts of the fight. Obviously, like it got kicked up again, it got going again a few times as they kept they kept coming back to try and get the dope out. They knew if wherever they were going without that 25 million opium, they're
dead.
They're dead. And these guys were geared. They were good to go. They knew how to fight. They were flanking hard. They were doing stuff that we would do. You didn't always run into guys that capable. These guys were capable. And we put down a fucking ton of them that day too. And it ended with one of them trying to, like half an hour after the fight, trying to suicide bomber us. Like he came in with he was vested up and we put him down too. But it was one of those moments where the fight had left us. Like you get that adrenaline dump where you're
Yeah.
And you now the complacency.
And then you
almost-
got to go back.
Then you got to bring it right back up because this dude comes at us and we're like, he wanted to get my vehicle. My guys shot him off my vehicle and then he came right for us and he got put down. But it was one of those things where like the fight just didn't seem to ever end, and it didn't end. We fought for the next couple weeks after that.
Yeah, so we ended up in saving this British commando outfit, and I've told this story before. Like the first time
Before that, wasn't it?
no, that was after.
Yeah.
So the British commandos needed help, and they're like, send 10 Mountain Division is what the Americans were going to do. And they're like, no, send the Canadians. Because we just fought in Pageway. We had 3 days to kill 750 bad guys. We did it in 12 hours. So General Freagley, that's the coin he carries. And it's pretty cool. You got a coin. Anyways, he's like,
put up some high scores.
These Canadians.
Jamie must be a few beers in, hey, for him to give a compliment like that.
Yeah, I love you, Chuck. You know that. Anyways, he goes, "You guys are new. You're my new fucking henchmen. Like wherever there's trouble in Afghanistan, I'm sending you." So now we get sent up to save these Brits. So, quick story: in World War II, there's a guy in Regina Beach, my hometown, Lorne Mac, saved the Brit Pears in Arnhem. Same fucking town. My son's named after Lord Mac. I get sent to fucking save the British Commandos for a second time in history from the same fucking town. So anyways, we go save them. But when we go back, it took us 3 weeks to get home because everybody had shot at us on the way up. We made sure Colonel Hopi fucking got on the radio as we're leaving that town. He goes, "We're paying a visit to everybody that shot at us on the way up here." And we fought basically from northern Helmand to almost the Pakistani border. And every day was a fucking scrap.
Everybody that shot at us, we fucking paid a visit
Yeah,
to.
it was fucking awesome. Yeah.
You know, I have a final thought, but I kind of want to wait for Willie to come back in. But I think no, keep going because I want to make sure Willie's in here for.
So getting back to his platoon, they kicked ass. Like I was fucking jealous I wasn't in their platoon.
I tried to get you in our platoon.
I know, and Willie tried to get me in Wrecking Platoon too, and I love you guys for that. The thing was, when their platoon commander got wounded, and now
Mark Pickford.
Mark Pickford was the platoon warrant. It was like those guys would fucking eat their own guts for Mark. They loved him so much, right? And fucking whenever there was shit going down, like with Chuck fucking hit, like I don't give Chuck too many compliments, but I would fucking go anywhere and same with this guy. I'd follow these two guys to the end of the earth. And the only reason I don't give them lots of compliments is because fucking we tease the shit out of each other. We love each other. We're like brothers.
Go straight to his head.
Go straight to his head. Fucking, or his forearms.
Head's already too big.
Anyways, love the guy, and we like pulling the piss out of each other. But no, like if you want to fight, if the two best fighting platoons, actually there was three. There's one in Charlie Company. Actually, B Company had a good platoon as well. There's like 4 really good platoons out of our battle group, but these guys probably tied for number 1. I wasn't part of that. I got to work with both of them and do certain things with them, which I was very thankful. But that, like when it comes to combat experience, these guys have more than me on that tour, and they're legends. Legends.
Well, this is what I want to say to end this off. Not because I want you out of here. I'm just
Wait,
like,
I got to go have a piss now.
no, stop it. Stop it. I was gonna say the cool thing is I'm glad you guys want to stay, and that you like one of the thought process around having a round table is it's easier. You think back to the old studio and having to like, you know, you're kind of like, you know, and we're kind of all crammed in a small spot. Somebody walks down the hall, you can hear it. I mean, we can hear the doors going every time you do.
Okay, wait a minute. I can't go piss because you want to talk about a round table? Yeah. Is that what you're
Just
talking
put a
about?
urinal over here somewhere, off camera.
Okay, I'll wait.
That's the other thing. You need to have a urinal.
Even a piss tube.
Yeah,
Piss
tube for every chair.
A good sink.
So listen, I got to tell you this because it's important.
It's important.
We're into
Get
the
no
important
bad.
We
thing.
used
Get
to
no
go
bad.
on the big Milcons and the what do we call the big exercise in the
Waycott
Wait,
or
no,
RVs.
RV. RVs. The whole fucking army would show up for RV and Wainwright, and we built these giant bivouac camps.
The listeners are in for an experience today. We got the first spill in the studio. Yeah, here we go.
And we had piss tubes, and it was literally a chunk of PVC pipe with some mesh over top of it, dug into the ground.
Private at the digging in the
And
ground.
there is so much soiled ground in Wainwright because of the piss tubes.
Then they got smart because of the flies.
You're not even talking into the mic anymore.
Let's put some screen over the piss tubes. And then
You should put some
they
screen
would
over
put
the
breath mints in there, and I'm like, McDonald, stop eating the fucking breath mints or fucking to keep the flies away.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for coming in and
Sean.
doing this. Here,
Hey, now you should open another beer.
as we're going, there's 3 hours. So, gentlemen, thanks for doing this. Always
you,
a
man.
pleasure to have you in here.
Thanks, Sean.
It's a nice christening for the new studio, I guess.
I
That's a
spilled the
great
first beer
Christmas
in here.
story for all the listeners.
Yes, and Merry Christmas, and get out and support your communities and write a letter to your MLA and phone them, please, for the people of this country.
Gentlemen, thanks.